That time again.
Yeah?
It's time. Are you ready?
What time is it?
It's Miller time, man. We've got the tools. We got the talent. No, it's time for the Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select. And you know what? No funny intro. I am Jeff.
Have you ever had a funny intro?
Yeah, this is podcast number 172. I think like 1 through.
So the answer is no.
70.
You've
I probably
never had a funny intro.
You after 4 years you start to use it up a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
But did you ever have it? Is what I'm asking.
No, I did.
I question this.
I did have it. I had it. I lost it. I found it. I got my groove back. I lost my groove. There's things that happen.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm John, so,
groove, and then sometimes not groove. So,
all right. I question whether you actually ever had it, but, whatever.
I find your lack of faith in this podcast disturbing, John. I think that I might have to execute Order 66 this week.
Yeah.
Which is basically just where I shoot you one time, there's no.
Like I leave and then you go eat Taco Bell.
That's
that Order 66.
That's Order 67. All right,
okay.
It comes after Order 66.
I mistook.
Order 66. I tell you, get the fuck out of my house. Execute Order 66. Yes, master. Get out of here. Execute Order 67. I'm going to Taco Bell. You don't really want to know about Order 68, though. That's later.
Well, that's after Taco Bell. I don't want to know.
The privacy.
No one wants to know.
I close all the doors. There's a lot of air freshener involved. Nobody wants Order 68. Trust me. You don't. And actually, it's fitting that we start this with some Star Wars jokes because we got a lot of Star Wars this week.
Yeah.
For good or for bad. But
no one questions Order 69, I take it?
No. Order 69... It's only for very special occasions.
Weird that it comes after Order 68, but...
You don't want to skip over Order 68. You don't want to go directly from Order 67 to Order 69. Trust me on this one, all right? Nothing worse than taking your man friend, your lady friend, whoever your friend is. You take your friend to Taco Bell, and then you go immediately to Order 69 without going through Order 68. Just trust me. Trust me. I've done the research.
I
have the life lessons to be able to tell you these things.
Okay.
So, Hey, John, how's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah, enough talking about sex, Taco Bell, and pooping.
Yeah.
How's your life going?
Pretty good since I was last on this podcast last week.
Yeah.
Was it last week that I was on here?
Absolutely.
So this is the second time in a row that I've...
Yes, it is.
No, but I'm okay. Just making sure.
Mm-hmm.
I got engaged.
You did?
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
We talked a little bit about it on the live stream.
Yeah.
But yeah. I popped the question to Amanda, and she said yes.
Did you give her a lifesaver, like in the commercial?
No.
I saw a commercial on the internet. Okay, speaking of getting engaged, this is pertinent to what you're saying. I couldn't figure out what the fuck this was a commercial for. It was like this couple, and they were out in the woods, and they were real pretty, and they were doing stuff, and they were talking about loving each other, and it wasn't one of those like 30-second Geico ads. It was like a 2.5-minute Super Bowl commercial that I couldn't skip for some video I wanted to watch, and then at the end it was just like diamonds, and it was like get
they're
them.
really desperate.
You must get them, and it's like I noticed that. I was like, we've got you fucking figured out, motherfucker. Like it doesn't, you don't have to do that. Like you could take that money and put it on a down payment on a house, buy a car, buy something that isn't artificially inflated and genuinely worthless.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
Not even a thing that people. Do you ever watch Adam Ruins Everything?
Yes, I do watch it sometimes. Well, not the show, but I watch the clips that pop up on.
Oh yeah,
Facebook.
Who wants to fucking turn on? What's that on? TBS?
True TV.
What's that?
True TV.
What even is that?
It's a cable channel.
What's True TV?
It's a cable channel.
Is everything on there true?
Yeah. It's usually like crime dramas and like documentary stuff, like cold case files and.
Ugh. I'm so glad I don't have cable. That sounds horrible. Anyway, congratulations. Is there a story? Did you take her to Taco Bell? Did you
no.
Order 68?
No. Nothing like that. No. It's actually it's kind of sad because it's not sad. It's for us it's perfect, but it was just kind of one of those weird things that when I've told people what actually happened, they're like, that was it.
Yeah.
That's not a proposal.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So it's is elaborate YouTube video.
No.
You recoded Star Tropics.
No. So we were watching. I think we were watching something on like YouTube in the living room or whatever, and she made a joke like, "Hey, if we ever get married, can I call you something.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it was she asked. I just remember
Booty cheeks.
Yeah, something like that. And I was like, sure, want to get married? And she was like, yes. And I'm like, cool, let's get married. And she was like, okay. And then like 30 minutes later, we both went to sleep.
Yeah.
Like literally that was it.
Sure.
And then the next day she calls. She's like, hey, I was half asleep yesterday. Did you propose to me? And I'm like, yes. And she was like, were you being serious? I was like, well, I wasn't considering that a serious proposal, but yes, I was being serious.
Sure.
And she was like, okay, well, I'm going to consider that a serious proposal. And you just proposed to me. And I said, yes. I'm like, cool. And she was like, she's like, that's actually see, here's the thing about Amanda.
I'm going to tell you, you need to make up a better story when you tell like the relatives or something.
Yeah.
Be like, I rode up on a fucking
because here's the thing about Amanda.
Yeah.
She has labored into me that she did not want a big to-do about it. She didn't want it to be in front of a bunch of people. She didn't want it to be, she's like, if you ever propose to me, I don't want it to be a big thing. I don't want to be
Jumbotron?
She doesn't want
your blimp?
She doesn't want it to be at a wrestling event. She doesn't want it to be.
Oh yeah.
She doesn't want it to be like in front of a bunch of people. She doesn't want it to be at a thing. She does not want spectacle. She just wanted to be asked. So that's what happened.
Okay. Just for the record, I want the spectacle. I want somebody.
So yeah. So we're gonna get married.
Hideo Kojima and Miyazaki to come to my house and be like, you must come with us, and then they're gonna take me on like a magical.
You do
adventure.
realize that you have to be the one to propose, not.
Dude, this is 2016. Don't you impose your fucking gender rules on me.
All right. I'm just. Also, you have to be dating someone.
This is 2016. Don't you impose your gender rules on me.
Okay.
My
Fair
dog
enough.
is crafty as fuck. All right. That's all I'm saying.
No, he is, and he comes in as he has mentioned.
He's like, shut up, John. God, you're gonna ruin the surprise.
Yeah, but no,
gay dog married.
Yeah, but the thing is, and before people think like that's it, that's fucking lame. I actually was planning to propose.
Yeah.
I just hadn't figured out how I was going to do it.
Showbiz pizza.
No. I just hadn't figured out how I was going to do it because of all the restrictions she had labored into me over the years.
Sure.
That we've been dating, like I don't want this, I don't want that. So I was trying to figure out how to do it. So the fact that, when she asked, she was like, were you being, like, if she had never brought it up, I wouldn't have said anything and would have proposed to her sometime within the next few months anyways.
Sure.
But it was one of those things where she was like, were you being serious? I was like, yes. She was like, okay, that's great. That's the perfect proposal. Thank you. Like that, like to her, that was the best way to propose to her.
Okay.
So this is why I love this woman.
Ice cream cake that just says, "Will you marry me?"
I probably could have done that, but
yeah, that's not too fancy.
I mean, as long as no one else was in the room and we're the only people who ate the cake.
Yeah. What if you like rig a game of Scrabble? You play a game of Scrabble, but you got it rigged so that you get all of. I don't know how you do that. You have to like put notches on the side of all the tiles and then like train yourself for 6 months so that you can pull out all the right
see, I don't want to go through that much trouble, so but
okay, all right.
But yeah, so we're engaged.
Congratulations.
We're happily engaged. We're gonna get married. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I don't know when we're getting married.
Excellent.
I don't know how we're getting married.
Can I DJ at your wedding?
It depends on if there is an actual legit wedding or not.
Okay. Can I DJ outside of the courthouse if you decide to get married at the courthouse?
You're allowed, as long as the courthouse allows you to.
I'm going to be a street DJ. I don't care. The man can't hold me down. I will DJ on the street. I will DJ on any streets. I will have to learn how to DJ and buy some DJ equipment.
Yep.
Well, congratulations.
But yeah, so that was a thing.
Excellent.
Yeah. The only other thing that happened since then is I got to play a little bit on a PlayStation VR at a Best Buy.
How was that?
That was fun. I mean, it was good. I played played the beginning of the Batman Arkham VR game.
Sure. Because
it was a demo, and literally as soon as the demo gets to a point where you can actually do anything, it's like, well, you get to have to play the actual game.
Yeah.
Really comfortable headset. Like probably most comfortable headset. Reviews.
I was watching Giant Bomb play a little bit today, and I was impressed that it seemed like almost all the games could be played sitting down.
Yes, yeah, that's
a big plus for me because I just don't want to stand up the entire time.
And the person who was asking was like, "Do you want to play standing up or sitting down?"
Okay,
and like they even asked when they were given the demos at the store. I was like, "No, I want to do it standing up because when you're playing the Batman game, because it's literally Batman standing around.
Sure,
I want to. If my character's standing, I want to stand.
Sure.
If my character is like sitting in a cockpit, of course I want to be sitting in a chair.
Sure,
that kind of thing. That's how I roll.
I want to be sitting down all the time.
But yeah, no, it was cool. Like I played it. You start off as Bruce Wayne, standing in front of a piano, and I fiddled around with some stuff. So I booped Alfred on the nose just to kind of because I wanted to see what would happen, and like they didn't react to it at all. Like that was kind of one of the things.
Stop it, Master Wayne.
It didn't react at all. Like it was like I didn't even do anything. So I thought about trying to punch him in the gut just to see if anything would happen, but I didn't
punch Alfred Pennyworth.
But I couldn't do it. I can't punch Alfred Pennyworth. I just boop him on the nose.
Okay.
Plus, it was a very small area, and apparently me booping him on the nose, along with a few other things that I did during the demo, the person giving the demo had to dodge me a few times.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Why
also,
were they even standing that near to you?
Because it was a small area.
Oh, okay.
Also, it was very clear that everyone who played the game was literally just like doing what was being told to them on the screen.
Yeah.
Whereas I was doing everything but that.
Sure.
Like I was like, I want to see what I can do in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, it wants me to take this key from Alfred's hand and unlock the piano and play keys on the note. I want to know what this phone over here does.
Right.
Like,
right.
oh, I can pick up this phone. Hey, there's messages. What are they saying? While I'm listening to messages, I'm using the other controller to like dig through drawers that are in a chest of drawers next to the piano.
Nice.
I'm like, oh, there's some business cards for Penguin's nightclub. Cool. And throwing them around, making a whole mess in the VR landscape.
Yeah.
And then once that was done, I was like, oh, okay, I can do stuff now. And then like I move on, and then I put on the bat costume, and then it puts like you actually put on the bat costume.
Sure.
Like you actually have to take like the thing and put it on your chest, and take the helmet and put it on your head, and it's actually kind of cool. It is actually kind of cool, and it's cheesy, but it's cool.
Sorry, I'm just the world's biggest eye roll. I'm so tired of these.
And then it gives you like a mirror in which you can view yourself dressed as Batman for a second, and you can like move, and as you're moving your arms, like he's moving his arms. So I started doing the Batusi.
Yeah,
because it was in the movie. I was like, I'm Batman. Yeah. And apparently everyone was enjoying, like everyone watching me was enjoying. Like, is he doing the Batusi?
Yeah, because you were having fun playing a video game, and I'm just like some robot. Like,
and then it like you get the gadgets and you test out the different gadgets, which apparently you do get to use later in the game. You can throw batarangs, and
every time you say that word "game," I want to put big old quotey fingers around it.
No, apparently I've actually been reading up on it. Apparently there is an actual game involved. Like apparently it's the only problem with it that people are saying is that it feels like too much of a directed experience. Like it's like, oh, this is the section where you get to stand around and use this thing.
Yeah.
This is the section where you stand around and have to listen to someone talk.
Right.
This is the section where you stand around and use this other gadget.
Yeah.
This is the section where you stand around and use this third gadget. Now it's the shooting mini game.
Right.
That kind of thing. But apparently everyone says there's a detective mode where you go to a crime scene and you have to like scan people and like actually like do some detective work in the crime scene.
Sure.
Now, mind you, you're standing still and not actually doing anything. You're just scanning stuff and trying to figure out what goes where to piece together. And apparently it's the best sequence in the game. And everyone's like, yeah, if they make a Batman game that's just that, like if Rocksteady releases like a full Batman game, VR game that is just multiple instances of Batman solving crimes like that, that'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's what I've heard. Now, is it the best game ever in the world? I've heard it's all right.
I don't know. It keeps coming back to the same things I've already said a million times about VR, so I'm not going to say them again.
Yeah. But,
But it was fun. It was comfortable.
It was comfortable. I had fun with it. I do have concerns with me being able to play it in my own home if I were to ever buy it.
Yeah.
Just because of the way my TV is set up, because I have a projector and the way it's set up and everything. I'm not sure how feasible it would be to have a VR headset in my home.
I mean, the room that you have, I mean, I
have a big enough room for it.
Seeing your living room, but I mean, like, it almost seems like the Vive might be the best choice for you because you could actually get the room space necessary because you've got the big living room in front of the projector, and because that doesn't rely on the TV or a front-facing camera, since it actually has the the sensors that are up high.
It's like and as far as like the PlayStation Eye, that camera would have to be placed in a place where it would be getting hit with the or it would be detecting the light from the projector and things like that. Like just placement of stuff like just doesn't seem feasible, but I could probably work something out in my house, so it's not a big deal. I want one. Like I don't think there's a game like there is a to have game like, oh, if you got it, you got to get this game.
Right.
I don't like. I've been reading up on like reviews since they came out today.
Yeah.
that
A
we're
lot of
recording
people
this.
got, I mean, they sent out a ton of pre-release kits
Yeah.
to various YouTubers.
But I've been reading a lot of stuff, and apparently from what I gather is that like there's not like the killer app is not there yet. Like there's not like the game to get.
Sure.
But the games that are out feel like a launch console lineup of games.
Yeah.
Which is, oh yeah, these games are great, but the real games you want are coming like 6 months down the line.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they've got a huge. It seems like, I mean, we talked a little bit about this. It seems like Sony a lot of times will drop stuff that's not profitable, but they really do seem to be making an effort with this.
And that's actually something else.
They got a lot. They also had. I remember. It just occurred to me that huge list of developers that are supposed to be making stuff for them. And one of those developers was From Software, and so I'm not counting this shit out until I see what From Software is making.
Having said that, I don't know if it's in the news section you're talking about, but I mean, one of the guys who's in charge of PlayStation VR has even said that that every console is being sold at a profit.
Oh, really?
Like that they designed it in a way that it is being sold at a profit.
Okay.
So I don't think there's any way for this to fail.
Well, it depends. It just depends on how much it sells over the holiday season. I mean, it's kind of the worst time I feel for them to put this out because they've already got they're trying to push the Pro as well.
Yeah.
So you're kind of splitting the difference between, I mean, regular old don't make a lot of money consumers who are like, I could probably afford to save up for a Pro or for this VR, but probably not both. And then there's also.
If I'm not mistaken, I think there is going to be like a pro bundle with the VR that's like $900 or something like that.
Yeah.
But then like who's got $1,000 lying around?
Well, I mean, a lot of VR enthusiasts apparently. I mean, people with good jobs. I don't know. But yeah, the other thing is that, I mean, I'm already starting to feel a little bit of the tax of just like the number of things coming out between now and the end of the year. Yeah. So. I don't know. I hope that it does well. I hope I just, again, I know people get tired of me saying this, but I really do hope that VR takes off because if they can just get an iteration or two in, I feel like you're going to see a lot of improvements to the whole thing. It's going to get smaller, it's going to get lighter, it's going to get cheaper, it's going to get better. There's going to be more games for it, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. And I look at it as I do plan to get one eventually. Obviously, the soonest I could even think about possibly getting one would be tax time. Around taxes, but even then, it's kind of an iffy thing. Like it just depends on what everything looks like in my life at that point.
Sure.
So it's not like I'm going to be rushing out to get one next month or within 2 months or before Christmas or anything like that. So it's definitely one of those things where it's going to be like, well, let's see what my tax return looks like, and then let's see what my bills look like at that time, and let's see what else is going on in my life at that time that money needs to go towards, which, like I said, I just got engaged. Yeah. So we need to figure out what's all...
Right. You got to plan that romantic vacation to Cabo for your honeymoon.
So it's like I've got other stuff that is probably going to end up being more important to focus on than getting a PlayStation VR, but I hope that it does well enough that by the time I am able to go, okay, I'm ready to drop $400 to $500 on a PlayStation VR, that it's actually still a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's enough in it that I feel like it's not, I don't know. Even if PlayStation decided not to pursue their VR solution, I feel like Valve is still putting out those goddamn Steam machines, and Steam controllers, and all that bullshit, right?
They also just we'll probably also be talking about that in the news section, so I won't even bring it up.
So I feel like there's enough going on. The whole thing could crash. The whole market could end up crashing, but I hope it does. Anyway, we are over time, so
you're welcome.
We are going to roll on because we got some movie trailers to look at and then to talk about, and then we've got all of the gaming news that is fit to publish. I'm actually going to axe that one, and let's go with new Rogue One trailer.
Yes,
new Star Wars Rogue One trailer. Man, this movie
looks great. I can't wait to see it.
It looks really good. Yeah, like I can't. Again, I think every time a trailer comes out, I express this, but this movie looks dramatically different than anything I've seen in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah,
and I like how it's like.
Well, it's got the color in it is different. Like it's
shot differently.
Yeah,
like
it looks like it's shot differently. It looks like there's a different like color palette to it. It's a different type of lighting was used.
Yeah, I like the fact that there's not one recognizable person in this trailer.
Yeah.
I like the fact that
there's some recognizable people.
Well, yeah, but it's not a I don't know, not a huge amount. There's no goddamn Han Solo walking.
No,
out at the end of
I
this
agree with you.
trailer.
I agree. Yeah, no, yeah.
If I go to see this movie and fucking one of those assholes walks out, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars, right? But like, this, I feel, is a thing that Star Wars has needed to do for a long time, which is get some goddamn stories out there that don't involve the Skywalkers or the Solos or, those family lines. Like, let's just have ourselves a nice little thing. And I like the robot and the fucking ninjas, and we got some guys with laser chain guns and, all kinds of cool stuff going on. So
Forrest Whitaker.
Yep.
That was Forrest Whitaker, yeah?
Yep.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah, because he's playing a character that actually appeared in Rebels?
Oh, I don't know. I don't watch the Rebels
animated series.
And before you start, commenter, I'm not going to watch Rebels. All right. I gave in and started watching Clone Wars, and I got bored, so I stopped watching Clone Wars. And yeah. So, but anyway, this looks. I don't know. It's also.
Looks great.
It looks really good. I like all the visuals that I'm seeing. And yeah, I can't wait this December to get a new Star Wars. I think I'm actually more excited about this than I was about Episode 7. Maybe. Because it also looks like just a goddamn war movie, like the way that it's shot and how gritty and stuff. And like after and
I think that's the intention they were going for.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It looks like it has a lot of promise. I'll tell you what doesn't look like it has a lot of promise. Resident Evil, the final chapter. The trailer is so exciting that they needed to have a trailer for the trailer at the front of the trailer.
That's actually been a thing that a lot of movies do lately.
Really? Because I've only seen it with the goddamn Resident Evil.
I've seen it with like just tons of John Wick. I saw a version of the John Wick 2 trailer, Chapter 2 trailer that did it.
Oh, okay.
It's a trend. I don't get it. They show a quick snippet of the trailer, and then here's the full trailer.
It's like, why? It's a trailer. It's a goddamn trailer. It's 2 minutes long. I don't need an extra 5 seconds for my 2 minute. Anyway, this looks gloriously stupid. This looks incredibly goddamn ridiculous.
Looks like a continuation of the fucking Mila Jovovich, Paul Weak Sauce Anderson, bullshit.
I gotta say, I think it's funny that Resident Evil is such a mess in both the games and the movies. I don't know. Resident Evil 7 looks like it might be good. But, between 6 and I actually kind of liked this movie franchise in the very first one.
I love the first movie. I actually really liked the first movie.
Yeah.
I am okay with the second movie.
Yeah. Then I
don't know if I can continue past that.
Yeah.
That's after that is where you just lost me at every turn.
I feel like it does the same thing that Resident Evil does, where it just gets too complicated for its own good. And what are you talking about?
There is a part of me that wants to wait until this comes out on Blu-ray and then buy a pack of all of the movies.
Marathon them?
And then marathon all through them just to see if I can make it.
Yeah.
Because probably won't.
I will never forgive them at the beginning of Resident Evil, I think it was 3, for they had a whole army of Alices, and then the first thing that they did in the next movie is murder them all in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was like, wait a minute, isn't she some kind of badass super soldier? And then it's like, oh, but we're killing all of them.
Yeah. So
anyway, I don't know. This is supposed to be the last one.
Also, the fact that it's called the final chapter, it's oh yeah, that's always meant it's the last one in a movie.
Oh yeah.
What was it? The Final Friday, Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
The Nightmare on Elm Street.
Whatever.
Final Nightmare or whatever. Yeah, those franchises totally ended when they said they were the final installment.
I have a feeling that Mila Jovovich, though, isn't going to be down for too many more of these. She's 41.
I just hope that they plan on going, hey, Paul Anderson, we're going to give the franchise to somebody else.
Yeah, stop making movies.
No, here's the thing. I like Paul W.S. Anderson movies. I love Event Horizon, one of my favorite movies.
Sure.
Directed and written by him.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's more just this franchise has collapsed under its own weight.
Yeah.
That the first one was fine, bada bing, you done, right? But making fucking, how many of them are there? 6? Is this the 6th one?
I think it's the 7th.
Oh my goodness. No. Let's see. Here's the film. Let's see if I can't grab the Wikipedia. Resident Evil film series. Resident Evil, Apocalypse, Extinction, Afterlife, Retribution. Yeah, this is part 6 that's coming out, the final chapter. So, yeah. Boy, what a crap. What else has Paul W.S. Anderson done outside of Resident Evil in the last few years? Death Race 2, Death Race 3. Wait, Resident Evil Afterlife, The Three Musketeers. I didn't watch that. Resident Evil Retribution, Pompeii. I didn't watch that. Death Race was all right.
Yeah.
What's Drift? I've never even heard of that.
I vaguely remember.
Oh,
Drift.
never mind. Go to hell. Go to hell, Paul W.S. Anderson. I hate you forever.
Why?
Alien vs. Predator. Just how the fuck do you make the Alien vs. Predator into such a boring, stupid, boring movie? God, that movie pissed me off.
But he also made the first Mortal Kombat, which was great.
Okay. The first Mortal Kombat is great in quotey fingers. It's not a quality movie. It's cheesy and it's fun to watch. It's the cinematic equivalent of shoving hot buttered popcorn into your face, which is why it works. But
I'm just saying, he made Mortal Kombat and then he made Event Horizon, two of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I literally walked out of a screening of Aliens vs. Predator at the end because it was so stupid. Anyway, speaking of, you mentioned it before, John Wick 2. John Wick 2 is coming, apparently. I'm glad that Keanu finally has himself, well, I guess this is his second franchise. I guess The Matrix would be like his first franchise.
Bill and Ted.
Yeah, okay, all right. Three franchises. Go Keanu.
Because they're still trying to make Bill and Ted 3.
I want to see that. I actually want to see that happen. Especially if they roll it with that plot line of like, it's actually been the amount of time that it's been, and the crazy future hasn't come to pass.
Yeah.
So I gotta wonder what, like, the first John Wick, it was an easy story. His dog got killed.
It was a revenge story.
Took revenge. I'm wondering what the hell's going on here.
Probably the people who put that one Russian mob boss in power are pissed off that John Wick just eliminated that entire family and are now after him to put him out of business.
You know what? John Wick came out of nowhere and was so enjoyable that, like, John Wick 2 is got 100% goodwill free pass.
I mean, it's kind of the Taken thing. It's okay. This guy does this thing.
Yeah.
We need a sequel. What should the sequel be about? Well, it should be about the repercussions of what he did in the first movie.
Sure.
And so, and those repercussions end up being him doing more shit.
Yeah. If it's just another 2 hours of Keanu Reeves shooting people in the face, driving cars, and I'm cool with that.
Me too.
I fucking love John Wick.
Yeah, no, John Wick's one of my favorite movies.
It's the
from last year? No, 2 years.
2 years ago,
whatever it came
last
out.
year. The dude over at Cracked, one of the dudes over at Cracked, I think at one point made a comment about John Wick, about how simple of a movie John Wick is, where it's like something happens and John Wick is like, I'm going to kill everybody, and then he proceeds to kill everybody, and then the movie is over.
Yeah. and what I also think is really amazing about that premise is that the thing that happened that makes him kill everybody is totally justified by everyone who's watching is like, yeah, kill those motherfuckers.
Yep, kill them all. Also, it didn't hurt that they put fucking Theon Greyjoy as the guy that kills his dog in the first one, because we already hate that motherfucker. Oh man, there's like a young kid of some sort, like a tween,
girl.
Or
no, she's like she's in her late 20s.
Oh, late 20s
or mid 20s.
All right, well, she's very short.
It's like Roxy something or other.
They should have cast the fucking Joffrey from Game of Thrones as that. Everybody hates that fucker. They've been like, oh man, is John Wick gonna shoot Joffrey Baratheon in the face? That would be awesome. Anyway, John Wick 2 looks good, sounds good. I don't know. I'll watch it. All right, so on to the video game news and trailers. First up, continuing our Star Wars trend, I absolutely love how every so often BioWare goes and gets Blur to make them a trailer that's 10 times better than playing Star Wars The Old Republic, because every trailer they've made so far has been better than playing Star Wars The Old Republic. That first one where they crashed into the temple and all the fucking, and then they get guys out in the forest and whatever. And now we've got this one, the Knights of the Eternal Throne Betrayed trailer, at 6 minutes long, just about 6 minutes long. This is as good a Star Wars story
it's a good trailer
as any I've seen.
Yeah, no, it's like I like you said, I love every one of them, but every time I watch one of them, I'm like, that is not what this game is.
Right,
I'm never going to play this game, so.
Which is why they need to do another, like, that's the thing. This is why they need to make they need to make more goddamn narrative-focused Star Wars games. If this story was part of a video game, I would play that video game where maybe the main character is the mom character here who's got a different kind of lightsaber I've never seen before. She's got armor. She's in the Old Republic. She's doing stuff. Whole thing is kind of rescuing her daughter and the development. you could totally make this into a game. You could totally make a game out of this story, but not one where you have to go collect 10, bantha ears or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I go kill 20 old Republic guards or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is that as much, and I even kind of like Star Wars: The Old Republic, it's just that it's still an MMO, and it still has the stank of an MMO on it, where it plays like an MMO, not a single player game. And this kind of story would probably lend itself more to a single player game. Fuck, man, they should just take one of these. They could have taken all these trailers and made them into a full single player game. In fact, it even looks like the little girl in this trailer knows the two dudes from the
previous trailer,
the previous DLC expansion trailer. You could have made a whole narrative game focused around that family. This could have been so yeah. What a thing. Anyway, if you have not watched this trailer because you're like, oh man, I don't like Star Wars: The Old Republic, or I have no interest in playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, I highly recommend that you go watch this trailer.
It's a good trailer
because you don't need to play Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's a great little trailer. It's a great little story. So yeah, go watch it. Also, I appreciate them making a type of lightsaber I've never seen before.
Yeah.
It's pretty nifty. Also, I have no idea who any of these people are. So
of course.
Yeah.
Because we've never played.
I don't even remember very much the previous trailer. I don't even really remember what happened there. I think it was there was a light. There was the kid dressed in white, the kid that was in the dark clothes, and the dark clothes kid was like a more aggressive Force user, but then halfway through the light kid got all like cybered up and then became a lot more evil or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway, speaking of games with fantastic story-based trailers that have nothing to do with their gameplay, we got some Overwatch news this week. And the first is there's a new image online of a character, Sombra, who might be the new character in Overwatch. Have you read anything about her?
I am aware of it.
Do we know anything about what she's going to be?
No.
Okay. So, she appears to have, some kind of pistol, and other than that, it's very difficult. It's nothing else I can really...
There's some theory that she might have some kind of cloaking.
Okay.
So that she turns invisible.
Like a stealth character?
Yeah, like a stealth cloak kind of thing.
That'd be kind of interesting. I don't have any of those right now, right?
There's some theory of that, but I don't know.
Okay. If this character comes out, within the next month or two, I think it would be.
I think it's going to be soon if the character comes out.
Yeah. They've been doing a really good job. Yeah, Overwatch has done a fantastic job of launching and doing updates and adding content and adding characters.
The new mode that they added for their Halloween celebration. The Junkenstein thing is it's a co-op. It's a co-op horde mode.
Yep.
For anyone that's wondering, that's all it is. It's co-op horde mode, and it's fun.
Yeah,
it's actually a lot of fun.
They actually put out a trailer for it that was kind of fun because they've got this whole kind of spooky Halloween thing.
Well, what's also great is they released a comic for it as well that takes place in the past. Matter of fact, they even show the origins of that photo you see of Mercy dressed as a witch and Torbjorn dressed as a Viking, like that's hanging on the walls in certain rooms.
Oh, okay.
In the game, that was also in the one of the Overwatch trailers.
Okay.
On Winston's computer monitor. They show the origins of that picture, and it's basically Reinhardt telling the story of Junkenstein.
Oh, okay.
And it's a lot of fun. Like the comic was a lot of fun. It sucks because we've gotten like 2 or 3 different crates, and all we've gotten are fucking stickers, sprays. We want like the other stuff. It's really annoying.
Oh man, I gotta tell you, like I have not been. I kind of skipped the Olympics thing altogether, but I'm tempted to go put real money into the game to get some of these costumes, like Witch Mercy, and there's a Frankenstein Roadhog.
There's the Junkenstein's Monster Roadhog.
Yeah.
There's a Immortal Soldier 76, which to me looks like he's dressed up as Michael Jackson from Thriller.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of red leather on. Looks like kind of looks like Thriller.
Yeah. There's the Witch Mercy. There's the Sam Hain, Sam Hain style Reaper.
Yep. And the Dr. Junkenstein. Yeah, I played a couple matches of it yesterday. It seems like it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's a little bit irritating in the fact that that mode is limited to 4 players.
Yeah. And
it's Soldier 76, Anna, Hanzo, and McCree. And yesterday I was trying not to be pushy, and I got stuck playing as Anna, and I don't really like playing as Anna. I mean, as a healer, I like Mercy or Lucio better, but I don't know. It was pretty fun. The waves are punctuated with AI versions of those, and then there's kind of a whole voiceover thing that happens.
Yeah.
We will definitely be playing it at some point for a Sunday stream. I mean, like, unfortunately, this week we're probably have just got finished playing Gears, and next week we're probably going to be playing Battlefield. But at some point before this thing is
before
over,
Halloween,
yeah, we'll probably end up playing it. But yeah, good solid props to Overwatch, and I'm really curious. I'm going to be very curious after call it like December second half, like December 14th, to be like, did Call of Duty or Battlefield manage to wrench any of the momentum that Overwatch has gotten away from Overwatch? Because Overwatch is still going real strong. Like, you can find a match, just people playing it. It's kind of came out of nowhere.
I think as long as they keep doing these events, like these holiday themed events, like I said, they'll probably have something in December for Christmas.
Christmas thing, yeah.
As long as they keep having like these type of events kind of things, I'm pretty sure that people will keep coming back.
I just it's kind of amazing to see. I mean, I know that if anybody could do it, it would be Blizzard, but it's kind of amazing after all these after a long time to see somebody step up and manage to wrench some of the momentum out of Call of Duty and Battlefield's hands, because Call of Duty, Battlefield, and what I guess you throw Team Fortress 2 in there have been big powerhouses for the last 5 years to a decade,
and also because it's Blizzard, and this is actually one of the things that I actually do have to respect them for, is that with Call of Duty and Battlefield and games like that, it's always like, oh well, this is this year's game,
right?
And with Overwatch, this is it.
Yeah,
like if we get an Overwatch 2, it's not going to be for a long while.
Yeah.
Also, I hope that Horde mode that they have, like they kind of turn that into an actual mode in the game.
It'd be kind of interesting.
As just an additional mode, maybe not do a Halloween themed one, but actually just have like a normal one.
Mm-hmm.
That
that's what TF2 did that with that Man versus Machine, right?
Yeah,
that was what they did with that. Anyway, that is Overwatch, and good on you, Overwatch. Next up on the trailer parade, we have a Dark Souls 3 Ashes of Ariandel DLC PvP trailer, which is a little strange. Usually this isn't the sort of thing that I expect from Dark Souls, as far as, I don't know if there's ever been a PvP specific trailer before, but they did the irritating thing, which I realize that every Dark Souls game has done all the way back to the first one, of putting a really kind of weirdly incongruous pop song along with this trailer. I don't know. I don't generally like it when they do this, and they've been doing it since the first one. But what they're showing off here is apparently there's going to be like a new PvP arena. There's going to be a new Covenant. Yeah, that seems like it's mostly PvP focused. I don't know if it's going to be doing anything in particular differently, but they kind of are showing in the trailer like characters with these little crowns over their heads. I can tell you this though, John. There's a story back in Dark Souls 1. They have in the DLC that we are playing for Patreon. They created a PvP arena, and nobody used it. Like, literally, there are just these places that magically become PvP zones in Dark Souls. And it was funny because literally in the DLC, like a little ways down the road from where the PvP zone was, the actual PvP arena was a PvP hot zone. So it was just an area. It was just an area on the street where people would go to do PvP. But they didn't use the actual thing that was provided to them, because it was like everybody gets these little stalls and then it drops you down and you're in this arena that's set up for PvP, and everybody's just like, fuck you, we're gonna go 100 yards in that direction and we're just gonna do regular old invasions over there. So I don't see that this is, I don't know, maybe this will change stuff, maybe it'll make things great. I have to say that I just got done playing through all of Dark Souls 3 and I just played it all offline, because why bother? Like, I don't want to get invaded. I don't like getting invaded. It's just a tax on my resources. So I was like, fucking who cares?
Okay.
But we'll see what this is like once it comes out. So next up, there was we've got a kind of a split difference of opinion here. I think that this looks like it looks like a similar Prey 2 trailer to the trailer that was out before.
Everything I've read is it's the exact same trailer, but just with the female protagonist.
Okay.
And even looking at the intro, this looks like the same trailer.
I don't know. I thought the first one had him waking up over and over again.
No. There's been 2 trailers.
I know, and then there was the last one had the gameplay of turning into stuff. I don't remember seeing this before, but then again, I watched so many goddamn trailers that I could just be mistaken. I'm still really, really excited for Prey 2.
Oh no, same here.
I like what I'm seeing out of it. But yeah, I guess I do remember this part of loading up the pistol. But yeah, I think it's interesting too that that they've got this option in a single player game and just be play as a lady, play as a dude, play as who you want to.
Yeah, everything I'm seeing looks the same.
Okay. Well, you remember the trailer better than I do because I don't remember half of this stuff happening in the last trailer. But
there's a few things that I actually don't remember. But
I mean, it looks a little bit different to me than the last one. I mean, it's similar in a lot of ways, but whatever. But that's supposed to be out this year, right? 2016? No, 2017?
It is 2017.
Fuckery. God damn it. How long do you think we're going to get into 2017 before they start pushing stuff back to 2018? How many weeks into 2017 do you think we can get before we get the first news story that's like, Prey 2 pushed back to 2018? It
could be because they didn't even give a date. They just said coming in 2017.
Yeah. Motherfucker. Oh, well. All right, and that's all for the moment, at least as far as trailers go. Next up, we have some technical news, the first of which is, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more later, but the patch that we were talking about last week for Mafia 3 frame rate unlock is now totally live.
Cool.
It was like 3 days after the game came out. So now you can do 30 frames per second, you can do 60 frames per second, you can do unlimited. I feel like there's still some technical issues that I've seen in a lot of the reports, but I would like to come back to this particular topic at the beginning of the question section because I have some thoughts about Mafia 3 that I feel like I'd like to throw out there. But in case you were wondering, yeah, that's totally out. Next up, apparently Yakuza 0, the 1980s prequel Yakuza.
Yes. I'm actually kind of looking forward to this.
Has been, and this is, I guess, I think for our listeners who really care a lot about the whole kind of censorship of crazy Japanese stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently it's been rated. It's been rated M, and then the listing for the M rating, it looks like they're not taking out a bunch of things that a lot of times get taken out of Japanese games because they're too sexy. Like this particular screenshot is apparently at a wank room of some sort. Like this guy watching lady on TV and
got a box of tissues next to him.
Tissues and an ashtray. I don't. It's such a weird screenshot that I'm like, somebody took this official screenshot. Okay. And then down here, apparently, there's this cat fighting mini game where it's like rock, paper, scissors, but then ladies in bikinis razzle each other.
All right.
I'm like, great. So, hey, if you're one of those people who's very concerned about censorship in your video games, rest assured that Yakuza 0 will have all of the smutty smut that the Yakuza series is
known for.
I
don't know.
They took some of that stuff out, though, didn't they? Some of the Hostess stuff was taken out of one of them, I think.
It might have been.
Anyway.
I don't know.
Next up, some hardware. This is, I believe, what you were referring to earlier. Valve has just put out a thing saying that that Steam is going to be getting an update that will give it a bunch more options for using a PlayStation 4 controller on the PC.
This was not what I was talking about.
Okay, well, maybe we'll have to talk about what you were talking about. But apparently this is a thing where from the screenshot, it looks like they're going to be doing this firmware update where you can essentially plug in a PlayStation 4 controller and then it'll actually let you go in and customize buttons and the touchpad and what different things do. I actually kind of wonder if it might be possible to, on Steam with a PS4 controller, to play some of the games with use the actual touchpad as a mouse for games. I mean, because that'd be kind of interesting, right? I know that the Steam controller is kind of trying to simulate that, but I like the fact that it says, you can add like an action set, you can change stuff around, and then the way that each individual grouping on the PlayStation 4 controller also, it just shows the equivalent of what that is on the Xbox controller.
Oh.
So, yeah. Glad to see the PlayStation 4 controller.
Yeah, they made a lot of announcements. They had a Steam Dev event.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so they made a lot of announcements.
Well,
like one of the thing I was talking about, I don't know if you want to bring it up, but
sure.
The thing I was talking about was they announced that they are doing a partnership with Samsung.
Okay.
So you know how they have the Steam box that streams games from your PC to the box that you plug into
Steam Link, I believe
the Steam Link, yeah. Well, now they're having an app that's going to be downloadable on, or that's going to be available on future Samsung TVs that will do it without the box.
Okay.
So you'll be able to Steam Link your TV to your PC without
any extra hardware,
without the actual need of the Steam Link.
Okay. I haven't actually used one of those. I'm still real leery about the whole streaming your game to other things.
Yeah.
Like when I tried to do it on my Vita, it was fine if I was sitting in the same room as the PlayStation 4, but then as soon as I moved out of the room, it got fucked up.
Well, that's why everything I've read about it says, basically says connect your PC wired, and then connect the Steam Link wired. Don't let either of them be wireless.
See, I'm like, I don't live in that world where.
Well, also your TV that you play video games on, for the most part, is right next to your computer.
Yeah, no, I guess I just worry about the major problem that I've had with a lot of those types of things is range. Like, I would be more than happy to have my Wii U hooked up to stream stuff to the Wii U gamepad because I'm like, hey, I don't have an iPad, right?
Yeah.
So here's one of those. But like, I had literally set up my Wii U in my kitchen, which is right on the other side of my kitchen is my porch where I smoke, and going outside and going through the window was enough to fuck the signal up to the point where I couldn't watch like Netflix out of, or I couldn't play anything out on my porch, which sucked because it was like, if that thing had any range, it would be really useful. If I could have my Wii U in here and then go into my bedroom and watch Netflix, that would be great. But it seems like if there's any walls or any bullshit in the way, it gets fucked up, which is why I haven't been super into the idea of the Steam streaming as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe like if you get Google Fiber, if you can do it over the internet, since that's so goddamn fast, maybe that would be fast enough to work. I'd be curious to.
I mean, I'm just do it networked. I mean, my TV is already wired. It's not wireless.
Yeah.
So plugging a Steam Link into it wired as well is not a big deal.
Do you have a Steam Link?
No.
Oh, okay.
I want one, but so that I can just play games on my TV. But
actually, I need to take my PlayStation down to my friend who has Google Fiber's house and see if PlayStation Now works any better when you have
it might
a high speed internet connection. Well, this is probably another one of the announcements to come out of that, but apparently Valve is prototyping some new Vive controllers that are kind of like these. They're real weird looking. They strap them onto your hand. And then they've got little touch pads on the top of them, which I'm pretty sure the Vive controller has that as well. But the main thing is that you can actually release your hands. And so they were talking about how they can use this to simulate grasping motions. So like you can hold your hand open and then reach down and essentially pick something up by closing your hands around the controller. Again, simulating this does not seem to be the most important thing to do in VR to me, but it seems like everybody wants to, between the Oculus controllers having that little loop for your, finger twitchy.
Yeah.
And I guess PlayStation is the only one that really doesn't because they use their old ass Move controllers.
Yeah.
So.
And actually I've heard that's the worst thing about PlayStation VR is the Move controllers.
Using Move controllers. Move controllers were never good.
Yeah.
They were never good. I even bought, oh man, did I ever tell you the story about, like, I bought the Move controller and the little nunchuck, right?
Yeah.
And then I believe it was Killzone 3. They put out, like, it was like a gun.
Yeah.
That you put the Move controller
Oh, no, that still exists, and there are some PSVR games that use that.
Really?
Yeah.
I own that motherfucker.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
played through half of Killzone 3 on it and was like, this is making this game terrible. I fucking hate it. Like, I'm standing in front of my TV trying to aim at my TV, and at the time my TV was down a little bit, so it wasn't like up at eye level when you're sitting. It was down, so I'm like standing up and pointing down at the ground the entire time. My back started hurting. It was so old. It's an old man Jeff moment. Anyway, I don't know. This new Vive controller looks kind of interesting. I guess it would be, the only thing about it is if they come out with it, are they going to require you to buy a new set of Vive controllers? You already bought a $900 fucking HTC Vive. I don't know. Again, I keep coming back to price for this stuff, but it's so prohibitive to the point where I'm super about VR. I literally cannot afford to get. I literally can't afford any of them at this point.
I know.
So, all right. Next up, this is just a real brief announcement. We're getting into announcement territory. The season finale for Hitman has a date. So October 31st, Hitman's going to Hokkaido and
Halloween,
finishing up the first season of Hitman, which I mostly pulled this up because, man, have I enjoyed Hitman, and I just can't, every opportunity that I can take to say how much I've enjoyed.
And you did not expect to enjoy it.
I did not. I really didn't. In fact, this is literally my favorite episodic game I've ever played in my entire life. I like the story. I like the way they put it out. I like the fact that I've got like 50 to 60% completion in every chapter because I just want to go back. I at least want to see the super special kills. So I at least go back and play through it over and over again to get those. I really, really like that game. Like, I really, really like it. I tell you what, the only thing that is a potential serious problem for me is since changing this to season 1 from just being the game Hitman, I'm worried they're not going to wrap up the storyline that they're dealing with right now. In fact, I think I know what they're going to do. I actually think I know exactly what they're going to do, but I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't played it or watched our videos. But I also thought back and recently and started to wonder if you just bought this game and you played through it one time, so you just played each mission one time and then you got to the end of the game, if it would be a much less engaging experience because the replaying the first mission over and over again while I was waiting for the next mission to come out unlocked more things that then made mission 2 easier, because if you get to level 20 on every mission, then it unlocks a bunch of new gear, a bunch of different gadgets. So anyway, there's a trailer. It's garbage. Okay, we have a release date for Dawn of War 3.
Hey.
Yep, April 30th. April 20th of next year. Is it April 20th or is it
April 30th?
Well, it just says 30th on this news story, but then down here it says April 20th.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, what the hell? Oh, God damn it. Here, let me just do a Google search for Dawn of War 3 release date and see what
it's in April.
It's definitely an April release date. Here's another website says release date. My God, internet, you are the worst.
Just go with end of April.
Yeah, end of April next year. Dawn of War 3 coming out. Seems like, yeah, I'm looking 4 different places and I can't really find it. So I'm really excited about Dawn of War 3. I really like the Dawn of War franchise. I think they should do more Warhammer 40K games. I think it's a great universe that's real violent, and you could do, orcs and stuff like that. I'd see an orc game. A nice orc game like Warhammer 40K.
I'm going to be honest, I keep wanting to get into the Dawn of War games or the Warhammer 40K games, and just every time I'm just like, nope, I can't do it.
At the last moment, you just veer off?
Yeah, it's like every time I've tried it, I'm just like, man, this game is not, nope.
I mean, it's just an RTS. Like,
I don't know what it is. Like, I like RTSs, but I just can't.
That's fine. I mean, Dawn of War 2, I tried to get into, and I eventually lost interest in because having it be one squad instead of production. I like to turtle up and overproduce the enemy, and then just roll with 150 siege tanks on their base right at the end of the level. Yeah. And Dawn of War 2 also has so many goddamn expansions that it's like, where the hell do I even start? Like, should I start here? But. Was it last week? Maybe even the week before, we talked about Wasteland 3 was getting thrown up on Fig. So Wasteland 3 got their goal. 3 days.
Wow.
On Fig.
Good for them.
Which was actually $2.9 million.
Oh,
more than $2.9 million, far exceeding its funding goal of $900,000. People like Wasteland quite a bit. And there's actually a gameplay trailer, which was fairly old, where you see the desert rangers kind of go to a place, and then there's a dialogue tree with an NPC where he's talking about eating people, and then it kind of transitions over. This is a very loose thing where it transitions over and he kills one of the characters, one of the squads, and then it shows the other characters using the Jeep that they drove up in to just basically murder everybody that's there. So I really like the fact that Wasteland 3's main thrust is going to be apparently wintertime, which is something that we don't see very often in
post-apocalyptic.
Yeah. And presents a whole new series of challenges. I also like the fact that they talked about having a whole co-op campaign where you can play along with friends. So yeah, good on you, Wasteland 3. Did you play Wasteland 2?
I know we played it on Super Awesome Video Game Show.
Did you like hunker down and play it?
No, I never.
I haven't either, and I'm just not sure. So Cuphead, Cuphead joins the ranks of games that have been delayed from 2016 to 2017.
Cuphead's just going to end up being another No Man's Sky, isn't it?
It's just. Here's the
funny
I
thing.
don't mean to be smiley about this, but I just feel like people are so excited for it that you almost can't help but be let down because I've just seen this cycle happen over and over again where people are so excited.
Here's the funny thing. Unlike No Man's Sky, I don't think they've promised anything that they're not going to deliver.
Sure.
I think that because literally all they've done is gone, here's a level, here's a trailer. And like they're being very cagey, like they've been very cagey about everything.
Right.
Outside of they've been like, oh, it's like it's a game like, Shadow. It's like a boss mode. Like we took a game. We went, what's fun about games? Oh, it's the boss modes. The boss fights are all what's great.
Right.
Okay. Well, then let's just make a game that's just a bunch of boss fights.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what they've said the game is. And that's what I expected the game to be. And I expect it'll be a beautifully animated game and hopefully be fun to play. I've heard nothing but good things from people who have actually gotten their hands on demos that it's been fun to play.
Yeah.
But it's just fuck. I wish it would come out.
I do like this excerpt from the post that they made that says, "Hey everyone, we wanted to finish our game 80 years after 1936, but it will now be 81." So, yep, Cuphead coming in mid 2017. As with all delays, look at Mafia 3. It would be better for them to come out when the game is finished and it looks really good and is not have problems, right?
Yeah.
I figure that's probably what they're doing, but.
Yeah, no. I have a feeling that I'll enjoy the game when it comes out. I don't want to know anything about the game anymore.
Okay.
Just don't even talk to me. Don't even show me a trailer.
Yep.
Because it's not a week goes by that someone shares the trailer online. It's like, oh my god, this game looks so amazing. When's it out or is it out already? And I'm just like, no, just put it away.
Isn't that the worst when one of your friends is like, oh my god, this looks incredible? It's like, bitch, I have been watching this thing for 4 years now.
I shared this trailer that you're watching 6 years ago.
That's right. Speaking of delayed until 2017, the Squadron 42 single-player FPS version of Star Citizen has now been pushed out to 2017.
I'm not surprised.
No? Apparently Robert said it's really important to let's see, as much as we wanted to have Squadron 42 for this year, it's not going to be this year because for all the polish we need to do, it still needs more time. And then he also said, please don't hold me to dates.
So in other words, there's going to be another delay.
2018 Star Citizen, the new Duke Nukem Forever.
They got to get those pixels on Mark Hamill's face just right.
Yeah, yep. And last, but certainly not least, I laughed and laughed and laughed at the giant quotey fingers news. Call them news. I've skipped this story for the last 3 weeks about, oh my God, did you see that Mark Ansel posted concept art from, what's his name? Is that? Michelle Ansel posted concept art about Beyond Good and Evil 2. Oh my God, what does this mean? Is there going to be Beyond Good and Evil 2? And then it's like, oh my God, Beyond Good and Evil 2. And then this week they're like, confirmed, we are working on Beyond Good and Evil 2. And I was sitting there, and there was a problem with that statement, John. Do you want to know what that problem was?
What's that?
They announced Beyond Good and Evil 2 like 5 years ago and never canceled it. So you weren't working on it? That was the thing? Is that you just announced it? There was a trailer at E3, for fuck's sake. You remember Pedge and all that stuff?
Yeah.
And, and then it was just like, it just went radio silent. They wouldn't talk about it when you asked them about it or whatever. And now they're just like, hey, we're working on it. It was like, well, what the fuck have you been doing? You got to tell us when you stop working on it so that we can be excited that you're working on it again. Anyway, Not that I really have a stake in the Beyond Good and Evil fight, but it's just
Yeah, I feel like Beyond Good and Evil. I like Beyond Good and Evil. It's a good game. I do feel like it is one of those games that people overhyped.
Yeah.
About how good it is, because don't get me wrong, it's a good game. I like it. It's fun. I love to play it, but it's not as like some people proclaim it as like it's gotten the status of mythic status of like I know people who are like, oh man, Beyond Good and Evil was like the best game ever created. Yeah. When did you play it? Oh, I played it when it first came out. When did you play it again? No, it was just that one time.
Yeah. Yeah, you got the nostalgia goggles for something that you played.
But it was like the best game that ever came out. So a Beyond Good and Evil 2 is going to be like 10 times as good, given how much time has passed since that one came out.
Also, isn't it owned by Ubisoft?
Yeah.
Who's been kind of consistently like fucking themselves for the last 3 years now?
Yeah.
Just pretty steadily.
Yeah.
I mean, so anyway, I don't know. As with all games, let's just go back to this. I reiterate this. I like to reiterate it from time to time. I hope it's really good. I don't think there's any way that it can live up to the expectations that people have for it. / Ubisoft will probably fuck it all up. / I don't know, maybe it'll be okay. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm still psyched about Steep, bro. Steep. You're probably psyched about Steep.
No.
Steep.
No.
But snowboard, bro. So many mountains. They're real mountains.
Does it have VR support?
Yes.
Weird.
No, I don't know. I can't. There's no part of me. I am more excited about Forza Horizon 3, which has already come out, than I am about Steep. I just cannot bring myself to really be remotely interested in that game. I wish I could, but it's just like it looks real boring. It looks like a minigame collection from a Grand Theft Auto game, not a full game that you're going to sit down and spend a whole $60 on. I don't know. Maybe I just don't need to talk to Sean White more, apparently. But.
Yeah.
And that's it for the news. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk about a little bit of Mafia 3, and then we're going to talk about some emails. So stick around, and we'll be right back. And we're back. We're back, John. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, good. All right, excellent. And we've got questions. We've got a lot of questions, actually, this week. Mail@ragesite.com is the email address for your questions. Before we get into those, though, I have been talking a little bit about Mafia 3, and so I wanted to basically kind of do...
Actually, Jeff.
What's that?
I'm not ready.
God damn it!
I'm ready now.
Are you ready? Welcome back, everybody, to the second... No, God damn it.
I was joking, man.
Well, I want you to be ready.
I want to derail everything.
All right, so here's the thing. I haven't finished Mafia 3 yet. I've been playing a bunch of it over the course of the week, and I talk a little bit about it. And then our first question actually delves into getting back to something we talked about last week. So first off, let me just talk about Mafia 3 a little bit.
Talk a little bit about it. I haven't played it yet.
Mafia 3 is... Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Mafia 3 is the latest in the Mafia franchise, right? The first one.
You don't say.
Yeah. And what, like the 19...
Is it like the third one?
It's like the third one, man.
Wow.
And it's a story of Lincoln Clay, who is a orphan / Vietnam veteran who comes back to the old neighborhood. And wouldn't you know it, things go bad, and he's got to take over the city a mafia style, and... he's going to run this town, basically. And it takes place in, what's the name? What's the analog? It's New...
Oh, God, I don't remember.
Something. It's New Orleans, basically. And so here's the thing. Let me say some good stuff about Mafia 3, okay? As I think that you might have seen when we were playing it on our Sunday streaming, anytime that there's like a major cutscene, the face tech in this game is incredible. Like the way the facial expressions have been captured and the way that the major cutscenes like play out when he's talking to the other characters it's fantastic. It looks really good. You get like, they have a lot of like facial expressions, and they do this weird thing where they're kind of like cutting back to a couple things. One of them is like a fake tape of like a Senate hearing with this character Donovan, who was basically a CIA operative that Lincoln Clay knew in Vietnam, who is helping him to do this. They're using the same destabilization tactics that they used in Vietnam to try to basically take down the mob, which is cool. I like that. I really like that aspect of having an ex-soldier who was a black ops person working with a member of the intelligence community to take down the mob, applying military destabilization techniques to taking down the mob instead of just like, we're going to go down to 45th Street. We're going to fucking take over Sal's Deli and I'm Italian. You know, that, right? So sorry to all of our Italian listeners. I still don't know whether that's offensive these days or not to do the mafioso Italian stereotype. So anyway, I should have mentioned this before, but it is a big open world game, right? So it's the city is divided up into a whole bunch of different districts, and you're driving around and you're doing stuff. There's a pretty big stealth mechanic to the game, which I know that I think GTA has had a few kind of stealthy type of things, but it's basically you can see the enemies on your map, and if you take them out silently, they don't get alerted and they don't all kind of come at you. And in a lot of cases, especially I'm kind of in the mid game right now, the late mid game, that becomes really important because later on, the people that you're fighting, you know, they've all got shotguns and tons of hit points and machine guns. And while you can buy body armor and you can do health upgrades, you can never just stand in front of somebody that's shooting at you. They will kill you, and they'll kill you really quickly. So that actually becomes really interesting. And I got to say that I'm going to talk a little bit about the game being repetitive, but there have been a few times where it's like the mission is like, oh man, you got to go into this place, you got to take out this target, and about a quarter of the way through the game, you get a silenced pistol. In the early days, you don't have anything; you have to take them down by hand, essentially. But you get a silenced pistol, and I got to say, there were a few times where I felt like a total badass, like just sneaking in and popping these mafiosos, and nobody was bringing up an alarm, and then you finally get down, and you just throw a grenade in the middle of, you know, the guy you're supposed to kill, and just boom, and everybody blows up, and great. Soundtrack, great. There's it's a little small. It was not a lot of time at all to start getting back into repeats, right? It didn't feel like there's 3 radio stations, and they aren't really very well defined. Like, they don't have their own flavor like the GTA stations do, or even the Saints Row stations for that matter. Because it's also worth noting the whole game takes place in 1968. So it's all period appropriate with stuff. They also do an interesting job of kind of focusing on this is the South in the 60s, and there's a lot of racism going on. Like, you play as a black man, and he runs into that stuff from time to time. And I feel like they do a pretty good job with that as well. It doesn't feel super exploitative, but when you get into the individual stories, there are characters in there who are very, some of them are super racist and some of them are not. And, the world has a bunch of kind of different areas, like the French Quarter definitely feels different than downtown, feels different than there's a whole swamp, with fan boats and all kinds of crazy stuff. There's quarries and stuff on the outside. It does feel, after playing both GTA 5 and it's going to be hard not to talk about this without referencing GTA 5 and Saints Row 4, because those were the last 2 big open world games that I played. The size seems more like an Assassin's Creed game than it does those, and that's just because I feel like GTA 5 really
that game's
up.
huge.
That's so big,
that's
so many different things that you could do in there. And then Saints Row 4 is fairly big as well, but then the whole superpowers thing, so that's all good stuff. The driving, a lot of people have complained about the arcadey driving. I kind of got to a point in the game where I think that there's actually, I got a little pre-order thing that gives me cars that you don't normally get in the game, and the fastest one of those has been a godsend, because unfortunately I haven't found it. It might be in the game somewhere, but I haven't seen any fast travel system. So if you're on this side of town and the next mission is on that side of town, you really have no choice but to drive all the way across New Bordeaux. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, I think you're right. New Bordeaux.
Which is a real pain in the ass. Like, it takes a lot of time and it's not very fun. But there have been some times where I've been driving and, the cars are a little bit more sluggish because they're, late 60s, early 70s kind of, American muscle cars, right? And so there have been a few times where it's like I'm going 120 and then jam on the handbrake and fucking drift through an intersection and narrowly miss 3 other cars. And that's real fun too. So I've actually had a lot of fun with the game. Unfortunately, it's also a big old buggy mess.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the frame rate before, but there's problems in the game with, and a lot of people on the PC have complained about, and I'm playing on the PS4, a lot of people on the PC have complained about the textures. They are real muddy on the PS4, to the point where a lot of times you're getting very noticeable popping. There's weird stuff like in some of the cutscenes. I don't know if you know exactly what I'm talking about, but like whenever they cut back to Lincoln, it's like he's wearing this army jacket, and it's like there's a really brief second where that jacket is like settling the physics on it.
Oh.
Like it's just rendered it on him by cutting back to that point, and it just kind of shakes real fast.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
And it just happens sometimes in cutscenes where I'm doing that. Every time they cut back to him, his jacket just shakes a little bit, and I'm just like, ew, gross. Like, that's not cool. Speaking of jackets, I'm like a good 15 hours into that game. No way to change the clothes on this guy, which is kind of a standard thing, right, for open world games. It would be nice to be able to go get a suit or some other types of clothing. It just seems like a sort of thing that is been a little bit overlooked. There's no story reason for him to do that, but I don't know. It would be a nice option to have in the game. Back to the lighting, though. The game has a real problem with contrast, where if I turn the gamma up high enough to see everything in the dark, a lot of times everything gets real washed out. They have this whole thing where if you're going from sun to inside of a darkened building where the screen goes black, but then it doesn't, his eyes don't adjust fast enough, so it's like I'm just staring at a black screen for a second or two, which is kind of... there is... I can see a lot of people would probably be a little bit upset about how fragile he is. I'm used to playing games with, realistic shooting game where it's like you really have to take into consideration. But when you die in the game, it takes away half of any of the money that you have on you, and it puts you back to a safe house, and you have to drive back to that mission. So I feel like one of the things that, especially in Grand Theft Auto, I think it was San Andreas might have been the first one, where there were like mid-mission checkpoints where you don't have to start the mission over again from the beginning. Yeah. And on the bigger missions in the game, there are mid-mission checkpoints, but in the smaller ones where it's just like go kill these guys at a location, you have to kind of start all the way back over from the beginning, and that can be a real time waster, especially when your safe house is a ways back. Probably one of the biggest problems, though, in the game is the fact that if you're playing it in a marathon-style session, it's very repetitive. It's incredibly repetitive. So by about the mid-game, you're trying to take down districts, and it's the exact same formula over and over again. You go talk to a guy, and those cutscenes for these smaller missions it's just a static shot of Lincoln and the person talking to each other. There's no camera changes. None of that good facial tech happens. You're just looking at them from a little bit above. That person will basically will populate your map with a series of either kill missions, follow missions, hijack missions, or interrogations where you have to go up to a person and shoot them, and then you have to interrogate them, and they'll tell you where another location is you have to go. And you basically do that until you inflict a certain amount of damage, and then you have to go back to the other person, and they give you another mission that's a little bit more intricate and interesting, and then there's another mission after that where you finally get control of a district, and then you can give that district to one of your capos, whatever, and blah, 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 blah. That formula has now, for me, been repeated at least like 2 or 3 dozen times, and it just gets old after a while, to the point where I'm like, I really just want to move the story ahead because I like the story missions, but the in-between stuff is tedious. And it actually smacks to me a lot of, like, I was thinking the other day that if this game had come out on the PlayStation 3 around the era of, like, Saints Row 3 and GTA 4, it probably would have been very well received because we had games that were very repetitive open-world games.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, games like GTA 5 and Saints Row 4 have really kind of upped the ante on diversity of mission objectives and different types of missions and different ways to do it. So that is a bit of a negative. So all in all, I mean, again, I haven't finished the game. I've heard some stuff about the end of the game being a little bit weird, that it gets funky and crazy and silly, but I'm having an okay time with it, but then I've got a pretty high tolerance for a game with a fairly decent concept that has serious problems during execution. Yeah. So I haven't had any falling through the world problems. I haven't had anything like that. I did have a moment where there were 3 guys playing cards at a table, and I threw a grenade and it exploded, but their character models froze halfway through their explosion thing. So then I walked up and the table was gone. There was money all over the place, but it was basically 3 guys in their chairs all just kind of bent backwards in the middle of flying away from an explosion that were just totally locked in place. It's actually kind of amazing sometimes some of the horse shit that happens in this game. But it's not a super great game. Yeah. It's not super polished. It's obviously got rushed out.
I mean, here's the thing. I know I played the first Mafia game couldn't fucking tell you what it was about.
Sure.
Like I don't remember it at all.
I just remember the speed limit. I just couldn't stand it. I was like,
yeah, well, it's like the first Mafia game, I remember it, and it's just completely forgettable experience for me.
sure.
The second Mafia game, I do remember because I was surprised because I expected it to be like the first one, and it actually ended up being. And I remember a lot of people being like, "Oh, this game sucks. It's terrible. Blah blah blah. It's like fucking mediocre. It's the worst thing ever." And I remember when it came out because it came out around the time of like before probably before GTA 4. It came out before GTA 4.
I'll check it. You tell your story, I'll check it.
And I remember it coming out and like just people saying it was terrible and going, "Actually, this game's not bad."
Yeah,
like this is actually it's not the greatest game ever, but it's not terrible. Like I actually like it, kind of thing. Like it more surprised me in how bad everyone was saying it was versus how bad it actually was.
Came out 2 years after GTA 4.
Oh, okay. Well, I was wrong there. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I also remember going, this is nothing special though. This is nothing. It's not doing anything to change games on a whole. We talk about
all the time. It's a middleware game.
Yeah.
It's got problems. It's not perfect. It's not great. It's doing a few interesting things, but it's not blowing the roof off.
Yeah. I would actually liken Mafia 2 to a more polished Saints Row, the first one.
Okay.
Because the first Saints Row, while it did improve things on the GTA model that GTA hadn't done yet, and that later GTA 4 and 5 totally improved on as well, much like the shooting while driving and things like that.
Yeah.
It was the first Saints Row game while great, it hadn't found its voice. It was just trying to be a GTA clone.
Right.
And this was trying to be like, well, we're
Mafia GTA,
but on a much smaller scale than GTA.
Yeah.
Because of whatever reason. And it was perfectly serviceable. I like Mafia 2. I actually I have more fond memories of Mafia 2 than I do of, than I would expect.
Yeah.
I'm tell you the truth, I was expecting the exact same kind of a turnout for Mafia 3. I wasn't expecting GTA 5 level gameplay that's going to change the industry or anything.
Sure.
I looked at it being a game that, you get it, you play it, it's a fun game. You might want to rent it instead of buying it.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game to play. You won't regret playing it. And then once you're done with it, you'll have no interest in going back to it.
I have no doubt that by fucking February of next year, you'll probably be able to get this on the next Steam sale for probably not the winter one, but probably the one that comes after that.
Yeah,
spring
sale.
Probably $20 on the spring sale.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I don't think it's as good as people who really like it think it is, and I don't think it's as bad as people who really hate it think it is. I think that it's got merits. It hasn't pissed me off to the point where I've stopped playing it. Like, I'm kind of interested in plowing through the story just to see where it goes.
Yeah.
I tweeted the other day about how, like, there was a mission where your character is shaking down one of the sub bosses, and the guy that you come across is kind of like, he's like, you go to kill him. Spoiler alert, you go to kill him, and he's like, oh, I didn't know it was you. Just here, take my business. I fucking knew your adopted old man. That guy was awesome. We used to party together all the time. So you get this old Italian guy, and Lick have like a little 20-minute.
Do you remember what the old Italian guy's name was?
I don't remember.
Because I do know that the character from Mafia 2 actually is in Mafia 3.
No, he's one of the actual 3 capos that you have.
Okay.
Like Vito Scaletta. He's the
Vito.
And like, I didn't know that because I haven't played enough Mafia 2 to really know that character. And so there was actually people in the comments for Mafia the videos that we made who were just like, I can't believe you didn't recognize that guy, because he shows up really early on in the game. And it was just because I'm not super familiar with Mafia 2.
Yeah.
I played the first
one. Matter of fact, I think I think when we played a little bit of Mafia 2 for a Patreon video as a bonus.
After Max Payne?
Yeah, after Max Payne. And you were like, I know I played this game, but I don't remember this. This is actually a lot of fun. Why didn't I play more of this?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And it was just, and so I remember you saying you didn't really play it.
No. But anyway, I honestly feel that the other thing about it I can't say this for sure. This is complete and total speculation. It seems like this game needed another 9 months in the kitchen. It needed more polish. It needed more optimization. It needed more added to it technically. I feel like it just needed more time to polish what was already there. Like, what's there has merit, but it's real raw, and it feels like they put this out, because it's been in development and that they didn't have either the time, the money, or the inclination to drag development out for it further.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a shame because, like I said, there's parts of it. But see, and the reason, one of the reasons I say this is there's also a thing that people have pointed out, and this is completely 100% legit, and I hammer on Dragon Age 2 for this all the time. There are a bunch of areas in the game that are just copy pastes of other areas where it's like, here's a warehouse where you have to go in and you have to get this, and you walk into the warehouse and you're like, oh shit, this is the same as the last other 2 warehouses that I've been to. It also has a
Mafia
problem
2 had that same problem
where it's we'll come back to this in another question, but where I feel like I get lost a lot of times trying to figure out how to get into places, like the best way to approach an area sometimes with the complicated kind of room structure. So again, that's also a negative. In any case, I mean, I feel like it's a middle of the road game, and I kind of like it, but I can definitely see, especially now, this is probably the worst time to put this game out because there's a lot of other fucking fantastic games that are coming out right now. And to stack Mafia 3 up against, I mean, I don't know, maybe Battlefield 1 is going to be garbage, but Battlefield 1 beta was pretty cool. There's a lot of hype, both good and bad, around Infinite Warfare. Shadow Warrior 2 is out this week. Gears 4 is out. There's all kinds of stuff that's out right now that make it hard to justify playing a really repetitive game when you could be playing something. I mean, I played 90 minutes of Gears of War 4. Seems like a really polished, really well put together experience. Kind of the polar opposite of Mafia 3, where it's not doing anything different. It's solid gameplay that's just been polished and polished and polished and polished and polished and polished. So, with that, let's go ahead and ask our first question and talk more about Mafia 3. So Ruskells, our good buddy Ruskells, writes in to say, "What up, fam? Hope you are both on fleek. It seems that Mafia 3 is getting wrecked on Steam for the PC version, getting locked at 30 fizzles per shizzle. Should devs be allowed to cap their games like that to keep in parity with console versions, only to unleash its true power later in the year? Are gamers fair to slut shame a game if it doesn't perform on their elite machines properly? Stay woke, Ruskells 06." And this also kind of ties into last week. I did a little bit of yelling at PC Master Race people for this whole frame rate lock thing, and I got it. Somebody sent me in a real long email explaining why blah 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 blah. We got some people in the comment section, etc. etc. So I thought
why
a lot
we
about
were
this.
wrong to be upset about those reviews.
Well, I feel like I need to clarify. That's maybe what I need to come into, is that I hate the idea of discounting a game based on one thing. Like, as I just got done saying, Mafia 3, if you want to give Mafia 3 a thumbs down on Steam because of the texture resolution, because of the repetitive nature of the story, because of the having to drive all the way across the map, copy and paste levels, blah, 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 all the stuff that I just talked about, cool. I just think that loading the game up, seeing this one limitation, and then being like, fuck that, is really unfair. It's the prerogative of people, but people can do whatever they want to. But for me, it's really irritating to see people discount an entire game based on one thing. Because that's essentially what it is on Steam. It's thumbs up, thumbs down. You're giving it a 1 or you're giving it a 0. And you know what? I actually had a thought last week about what I would do to fix this. Because when we were reading off that stuff last week and I was yelling and screaming and being all offensive to people with PCs, I wish there was a way on the Steam reviews to filter Steam reviews by amount of time played. That, I feel like it would be a really, really, because Steam tracks that and they put it on your review.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I could sort reviews by like 12 plus hours, like just let me type in a number. The number's already there. Because I don't care about the review of somebody who played this game for 0.3 hours. Like, to me, I don't have any interest in reading your review because you've made a snap judgment. That's it, right? Whereas if I can sort by non-code activation, like I bought the game and I played it for 12 hours, then if you want to come back and you want to talk about all the other reasons that the game is bad, fine, I can listen to that. But I don't like that snap judgment thing. Now, as far as the frames per second go, I also was thinking about how, and I'm sorry, John, I'll give you a minute to talk. I've just been
go ahead.
Trying to do my own thing here, but I think 30 frames per second is fine, right?
Yeah.
I had some emails and some comments from people who said, hey, I spent all this money on my PC. Shouldn't developers be beholden to essentially cater to my system setup because I have invested so much in this? And here's the thing. I think that if a developer comes out with a frame rate cap like that, that you don't want there to be a frame rate cap, that you should put pressure on the developer in other ways or see what they do. I mean, it's such a hard thing because I don't know if there hadn't been such a Steam downvote backlash if they would have done that patch, right?
Yeah.
If people had just politely emailed them and asked them to do it, if they wouldn't have, if their reputation on the Steam version of Mafia 3 hadn't been at stake, there's a good possibility that they wouldn't have taken any action. And so you get yourself in a real shitty situation because, the frame rate's unlocked now. And like I said last week, I do kind of feel like if I had left a review that said the frame rate's locked and I'm giving you a thumbs down, that when they unlock the frame rate, then that you should then go back and update your review.
Yeah.
Either changing it to a thumbs up or putting out more information about why you're giving it a thumbs down because the developer has gone in and fixed that thing. As far as 30 FPS, I mean, there's been a bunch of people who said that I can't play a game that's not frame rate unlocked.
That's bullshit.
That's the person's prerogative. That's your prerogative. All I got to say to that is that you're dramatically limiting your ability to play video games. Now, I'm actually a lot more upset at developers like Ubisoft with Watch Dogs having hidden all of the options to make Watch Dogs look good to stay in console parity. I don't get... Ruskell's here implies that Hangar 13 or whatever their name is... that they made the PC version 30 FPS lock to basically so that it didn't outshine the console version. I don't really get that impression from it. I mean, within 2 days they unlocked it. Like if they were really serious about making sure the PC version didn't look any better than the console version, you would think that they wouldn't even put out a patch to address that. They would just go radio silent, let the bad reviews stack up. Because the other thing I looked at is I used Steam Spy to look at Mafia 2 or Mafia 3 has roughly I need to look this up. The number of reviews Steam Spy is an application that you can use to actually see how many people own a game on Steam, and it's roughly 250,000 people have purchased Mafia 3. If you look at the actual ratings for Mafia 3 on Steam, it's 5,800, let's call it 5,800 positive and 5,600 negative. So altogether, that's what, 10,000, 11,000 out of 250,000 copies that have been sold and put out there. That's incredibly negligible when it comes to the number of copies of the game that's actually been sold. So I don't know where I'm going. I guess what I'm saying is that I understand why PC people want the frame rate unlocked. I guess it's just that it's irritating to see a game judged solely on one technical item and not all the other stuff, because I would probably give the game a thumbs down on Steam because at this particular price point, I don't think it's entirely worth it. I don't think it's worth $60, but just to go in and give it a thumbs down based on that one thing, that's what made me really irritated last week. Is it's just like you're not talking about any of the other things. You're just talking about this one specific thing. You're getting all up in it. I don't know. What do you think? Have you any difference?
I don't care. I mean, if they put a frame rate cap on it, fine. Yeah. I don't care. Does the game play? Does it look good? Yes. Oh, hey, that's great. Is it using the full potential of my PC? No. I didn't buy the game because I didn't buy the fucking computer so that all games could use the full 100% potential of my PC. I bought my PC and built it high, for as much as I did because I wanted it to be able to play games for many years to come.
Sure.
And not have to upgrade it again. Again, I'm different than other people. I'm clearly not a PC gamer anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't been a PC gamer since I was fucking 25.
I guess, I was also looking at the thing that kept resonating in my mind last week when people were talking about the 30 frames per second is, if 30 frames per second is a thing that all the PC users care about and it's a big sticking point, right? Dark Souls should be overwhelmingly negative thumbs down. Dark Souls is frame rate locked at 30 frames per second. It doesn't have FOV adjustments. It's got kind of crappy textures, it doesn't look bad, but if you're looking for everything to look super hot, even though that game's old, right, it doesn't have the options that people are asking for modern games to have. Hell, I just got done playing Portal 2, and I had to play that in a window because it doesn't have full screen window support, and the only way to get the frame rate high enough, because I'm like, fucking Portal 2 is such an old game. When I had that full screen, I feel like the frame rate was locked, and that I had to look up a bunch of articles on how to do that. But
and people were like, yeah, but those are older games, Jeff. These are modern games. Mafia 3 is a modern game. That's why it's different, because I need my modern games that are released now to be, unlocked. A game that was released like 10 years ago can totally be locked because that was just the way the industry was back then. But now all games need to be. Go fuck yourself.
Well,
I'm sorry if that pisses off any of you PC Master Race people, but go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah, that's kind of where I finally landed. Is if you want to go fight this fight, that's great. I feel like if you're not willing to play any game that runs at less than 60 frames per second, you're just depriving yourself of some good games that are out there. I mean, yes, Dark Souls does have a bunch of user-made tools to fix the multiplayer and unlock the frame rate, and change the way the graphics look. But From Software put that game out and then kind of just was like, fuck off. I mean, like,
shit, how long did it take them to get rid of the games for Windows?
Oh, forever. Yeah. So, and yet that game is overwhelmingly positive. Here's another one. I know the answer is going to come out, but I found somebody on Steam who curates games that are locked at 30 frames per second. So I looked down a list of all these games that were locked at 30 frames per second, and there's a bunch of them that have overwhelmingly positive reviews. Here's a weird one. Undertale is locked at 30 frames per second. Now, I know people are going to be like, well, that's not an action game. That's the thing. But the thing is that I literally had people that were writing into me saying that it hurts their eyes to watch a game, to play a game that runs at anything less than 60 frames per second. So Undertale should be getting a lot of bad reviews because it's I honestly feel like the problem with Mafia 3 was not the 30 frames per second. It was that it's kind of a half-baked game that has problems.
And I can understand that. And again, if that's the case, that's fine. But I agree with you. It's like anyone who's like, oh, well, if a game doesn't run at 60 frames per second, it hurts my eyes. Again, my response to that is, you're full of shit and you're lying. Have a nice day. I don't care if you have eye problems. I don't mind calling you a fucking liar who's full of shit.
I just think that to me, it's more of a fact of like, I feel bad for you that you're not going to get to play some of these games just because of this one technical limitation.
Now, your review, you're like, hey, this game, I'm having fun with it, but it's got a lot of problems. Here are these problems. Here are all, and not any of them were, it's locked at 30 frames per second. It was, there's some graphical issues. There's some these weird little things that happen here. There's glitches galore. Those are all valid complaints.
Oh, on our Sunday stream, there was that whole point where we went to go talk to a guy and suddenly the screen went all bright and pink and just fugly for no good reason. And it was like, that stuff happens all the time. Rain is terrible in the game.
And those are all valid complaints. And if you were to say, these are all the problems I have with it, and because of that, it's a bad game, I would look at you and go, you know what? I respect that.
Or at least it makes sense.
That makes sense.
Sure.
All those problems do sound like an issue. If it's a bad game because of that, I totally understand. I can respect your opinion on that.
Yeah.
But to go, the frame rate's capped at 30, fuck you. Fuck your game. Fuck your game for being capped at 30 frames. I don't have any other issues with it. Just the 30 frames per second. Or being like, it's 30 frames. It's the 30. There are other problems, but those don't really matter. It's the 30 being capped at 30 frames. It's like, go fuck yourself. If that's your only problem with the game, go fuck yourself.
But see, then we go back to the whole thing. And I'm sorry, we're going to move off of this topic soon. It isn't anymore.
Yeah.
It isn't. It's 30, 60, unlimited. They put in the options. Boom, good to go. And so... great, there you go.
Yeah.
If that was your only problem with the game, then you should love the game now, right? I mean, but if it wasn't, then it's for a person who's trying to figure out whether they want to buy Mafia 3 based on the user reviews on Steam, it behooves you to give more information about why the game has a problem, because then a person who's trying to make up their mind based on these quote fingers reviews can do it. So anyway, but again,
we've talked about this for 2 podcasts now.
It's also a problem with the Steam review system. It's also the Steam review system has been fucked up. It's always been fucked up. I hate the fact
this is also why I don't read. This is the main reason why I don't read user reviews on Metacritic, because they're all bullshit.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. And Steam has the tools to be able to help fix them, and they're rolling them out, but they're just doing it so goddamn slowly that I mean, like, why? If you're going to put in a thing for key activations versus would you not give me a thing where I can put in the amount of time that a person has played a game? Because honestly, if there's a slew of reviews that are all less than an hour, I don't want to read them. I don't want to read you. If you played the game for 0.2 hours, I feel like your opinion is not, I'm not interested in it.
I will put one defense on that, though.
Yeah.
There are a few games that on Steam I have played for like 6 and 8 hours, and it only reads I've played 1.4 hours.
Yep.
On there, the thing that actually reads how long.
So fix that.
Yeah,
fix
Steam
that.
would need to fix that because I mean, maybe they have since then. I mean, I haven't played my PC in about a month. But it's one of those things where that's probably the reason they don't have that is because that doesn't work as perfectly as they probably would like.
Sure. All right, let's move on. It's enough of that. Let's move on. Yeti13 writes in and says, "Hey, Jeff and John, that is so sexy. The Dong Lord himself bowed low. Oh, that is so sexy. The Dong Lord himself bowed low. How do you feel about game completion percentage counters? I'm playing through Rise of Tomb Raider right now and started to notice that they are rather annoying. I want games to naturally tell me how close or how far I am from beating them rather than saying, oh, well, you are exactly halfway done. On another note, Twitch and Amazon just announced Twitch Prime, which gives users one free subscription to a channel per month. Maybe another way to make some cash flow. Keep up the holy work of the Dong, Yeti 13. I think that I generally don't mind percentage counters as long as they're in a menu.
Yeah.
I don't want them front and center in the game.
Yeah.
Because that's irritating. It just kind of it reminds you too much that you're playing a video game and not you know.
No, I agree with you on that. I don't mind them being in the menu. Like if you go to a menu screen and it says, "Oh, you're this % through this chapter," or you're this percentage through the game. I don't mind that being in a menu somewhere that tells you like statistics.
Yeah. I actually prefer it. Yeah. Especially when I'm playing games for Rage Select because it means that I can tell how long the game is by looking at like, oh, where am I? I've been playing for 4 hours. I'm at 30%. I'll probably be about 12-hour total game or 9-hour total game, right?
Yeah.
And in a game like GTA or Mafia for that matter, it also helps because you can kind of see just how much progress you're actually making and gauge how long the game is. But yeah, I don't remember Rise of Tomb Raider. I never played enough of it to really know.
I don't remember there being like it being like front and center. I remember it being like on like the opening, like on the start menu, like it tells you how percentage you're through the game. But I don't remember it being like in your face, like you start a chapter and it's like chapter 1, 5%. I don't.
Maybe it's like if you pick up an item and it tells you how far through the completion of doing that collection that you are.
Yeah,
or
maybe.
Like that. But I don't know. I don't really have a problem with it, and in fact, in a lot of ways, like I said, I prefer it because it lets me gauge how long a game is going to be.
Yeah.
In fact, that's the thing that I'll do quite often on Rage Select is whenever I get a new game, one of the first things that I'll always put in is how many chapters are there in this game? Like a game that's like chapter 4, and I'm like, how many chapters are there? Because I want to know how far through the game it.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop on chapter 10 if there are 12 chapters because I'll just power through and be done with the game.
Yeah.
All right, our next question comes in from Henry. Henry says, hello, Jeff and John. As you well know, the new Call of Duty has some issues. In addition to its marketing failures like packaging a remastered classic with a new and very unwanted game with no other purchasing options, they have completely stripped the game away from its historical shooter roots. But the question is this: should a game be judged on franchise roots if it is not continuing a story? After all, there are a lot of good Call of Duties that do the same things. The same could be asked of some movie sequels as well. Jeff for president, John for VP. Henry, we'll accept the nomination for vice president of Taco Bell.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to be president of Taco Bell.
As long as it means free Taco Bell.
I can see no reason why the vice president could not get free Taco Bell.
Nice.
Yeah. You think if you were Joe Biden, you just walk into Taco Bell and you're just like, what's up, I'm Joe Biden. Tacos.
Taco me.
That'll be $6.99. Joe Biden. I've been biding my time waiting for these tacos. There, that's it. That's how you get paid. Give me those tacos now.
Probably just turns to a security representative and says, pay the man, and then walks off.
Yeah. I think free tacos for vice presidents. I think I could get behind that as a law. And Joe Biden just gets really fat. He's just eating tacos all the time. So I know we've talked about this a little bit in the past. What do you think? Judging a game based on where it's been harshly for going in a different direction.
I don't know. It depends on how.
Well, I think that Call of Duty hasn't been judged harshly for going in a different direction. It's not like last year it was World at War and this year it's Infinite Warfare. Call of Duty has been moving forward.
Yeah, it's been gradually going in this direction. Like when they announced Infinite Warfare, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like, what? They're in the future and they're in outer space. What? This is news to me. It was like, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
like that we've already done future warfare and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it was, well, let's
Black
see.
Ops 2, Black Ops 3.
Was futuristic. Black Ops 3 was futuristic. So what do we got here? So we've got Modern Warfare 3 wasn't exactly futuristic. Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3 were futuristic. Advanced Warfare was futuristic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they've been moving in this direction for a while. I mean, I at no point in the history of humanity have I ever been up here being like, Activision is such a humble company who listens to what the people want. They're not. They're arrogant as shit, and they put out whatever the fuck they want to. And, you know, I feel like the backlash against Infinite Warfare, I mean, I can understand it. I personally don't feel it.
Yeah, no,
I have no stake in that. I mean, I'd kind of be interested in seeing a World War II game made with current tech. I think that might be interesting to see because it's been a long time since we've
I get that.
done that. But I'm really holding out for Velvet Assassin 2 or The Saboteur 2, not Call of Duty, the big red other one or whatever.
Yeah.
But as far as being fair to judge or fair not to judge, this is the internet, Henry.
Everyone's going to be upset.
Yeah, nothing is fair.
DMC.
Oh God, let's not wade back into that.
I'm just saying, it's like that was a good game. That was unfairly judged.
Sure.
But you know, it all depends on it. Let's talk about Assassin's Creed real quick.
Okay.
I know we talked about it in depth last week.
Sure.
But let's talk about it here. I actually feel like the franchise has kind of been treading water since Brotherhood.
Okay.
I don't feel that the franchise has actually, like, I feel like once it got to Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood, everything was kind of downhill from there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it because they're getting too stagnant. They don't know how to change. Mm-hmm. It feels like at this point they need to do a drastic change to that franchise.
Yeah.
To make it interesting. But I also wonder if they were to do, you know, Assassin's Creed Future, you know,
Wild West,
you know, or Wild West. I would be all for fucking Wild West.
Wild West Assassin's Creed.
I would be all for that actually.
Yep.
But if they were to do like, you know, that like Assassin's Creed and, you know, the future or something like that, would people be upset about it?
Yes.
Would people be, because here's the thing, during the whole Desmond thing, that's what everybody wanted. Everybody wanted there to be everyone thought that either the third game would lead into a fourth game that was Desmond in modern times, which, if rumors are still to be believed, that's what Watch Dogs originally was.
Sure.
And then they went, oh no, we got to kill off Desmond in the third one. Ah, shit, what do we do with this other game? Let's fucking turn it into its own franchise and have it not be attached to Assassin's Creed in any way, shape, or form.
Watch Dogs is such an Assassin's Creed game. It's so Assassin's Creed that it's not even funny.
Yeah, but yeah, apparently the early rumors were the early models of that game were it was supposed to be a spin-off game starring Desmond as an assassin in modern times.
Sure.
But then they fucking did away with that.
I think Watch Dogs would have come out better if it had been an Assassin's Creed property than its own thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have had more of a tie to that storyline. I think it would have been a better game.
Yeah. But again, it's sometimes it's like, would a drastic change help Assassin's Creed at this point? Maybe, maybe not.
Unity was kind of a drastic change with some of the gameplay elements that they
but
threw in
Unity
there.
was fucking garbage.
Oh yeah, but they did. I mean, the thing is that I've talked before about how since Assassin's Creed 2, every single Assassin's Creed game that has come out after that has basically been hanging more and more features onto the existing Assassin's Creed thing. Actually, 3 was kind of where they changed it up, because like in Assassin's Creed 3, you auto went into combat. I remember that being really irritating to me, where you couldn't just stand there like to role play your own assassin, where you're just like, oh no, what's going on over there? I'm an assassin. It's like if you got too close to combat, you know, Connor just whip out a sword and go to town, because that's what it was. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just using that as an example. I mean, because what?
I'm still trying to figure out what the Call of Duty people want.
Yeah.
Do you want another World War II game? Is that what you're asking for? Because we have World War II games at the ass. We had them at the ass, and then everybody got tired of them, so we stopped making them. Do you want them to go back to World War II? Do you want to do a Vietnam game? We're looking for World War I? I mean, Battlefield's already doing that. You don't want to step on that thing. Anything pre-World War I is kind of hard to do because your weapons technology is starting to get to a weird place where you can't really do the Call of Duty thing like they're doing.
I think most people just want another Modern Warfare.
Another Modern Warfare? Good God, I would have thought that in the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era, that between Medal of Honor and
I agree. I agree with you completely.
I feel like we tapped that, and by the time they got to Modern Warfare 3, I was just like, ugh, eye roll. So I don't know. I don't like. That's I guess the thing is that everybody wants to hate on Infinite Warfare. I'm kind of like, well, what do you want? And in fact, I'll put that to the audience. What do you want from Call of Duty? Call of Duty is like not a big thing for me. It's just over here. One comes out every year. Sometimes I play them. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're not. I played Advanced Warfare. Couldn't be bothered with Black Ops 3. Just farted around for a little while and then was like, this is boring. They gave you superpowers. Great. But I think Infinite Warfare looks fun, personally. As fun as any other Call of Duty. So yeah, that's, I guess, maybe we'll jump over the outrage to the end result of the question and ask, what is it that Call of Duty fans want? Because I get the feeling there's a lot of people who don't even like Call of Duty who look at Infinite Warfare and they just go, ugh, gross, this is fucking just another Call of Duty and this one's in space. Bleh. Who you're never going to make them happy with anything. The diehard multiplayer people, I don't think it matters to them what era it's in because they're there for the multiplayer, not the single player. So it's more a question of kill streaks and weapons and attachments and things like that. So yeah, what do you want? What do you want, Call of Duty fan? I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't have a problem when a franchise decides to do a big departure. Like I don't hate that idea.
Yeah.
Of just doing like you know what? We're doing something different with this game. Like it's completely different characters, none of the original characters. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that's done that in a video game or whatever recently. But I don't necessarily hate that idea either.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't. Again, it all depends on its implementation. Sometimes it's implemented really well. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just. I figure people should judge the games by the games themselves and not by the franchise that they're part of.
What you expected that game to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's my opinion on it. I don't know.
I mean, there's also a difference between what you expected the game to be and like I wanted the next Call of Duty game to be a World War II game and they made a future game. So I'm going to shit on this future game. And you just go, but they weren't making a World War II game. But then we kind of go back to what we were talking about with Mafia 3 of like, if the fans of Call of Duty want the franchise to move in a different direction, if they don't come out in this overwhelmingly negative, shitty fashion to Activision will probably just ignore them. In fact, there's a very good chance Activision will ignore them anyway.
I'm pretty sure Activision is ignoring
because it's going to sell 30 million copies, even though everybody's all just like, eh, and then they go out and buy it anyway. Because
the pre-orders they already got their money.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Our next question comes in from Thomas. Thomas says, "Hail, my lords and countesses. Love your work and thank you for all the laughs. I have recently found myself in a quandary. I work as a charge nurse, which is the manager of other nurses, and have been tasked with sorting out the rota, I don't know what that is, for the Christmas working hours, rotation for the Christmas working hours for my fellow nurses. This I feel will not end well as no one likes working Christmas and New Year's in the hospital. My question is, have you ever found yourself in a position of power where you've been tasked with something that has no easy out/answer? What did you do? How are the repercussions of those actions? Alternatively, I'm turning 30 next year and planning my midlife crisis of alcohol and drug-filled debauchery. Did you have a midlife crisis, and what was it? Jeff, creating Rage Select and playing video games for a living doesn't count. Damn it. And then he has specific questions for all of the co-hosts. Yours, John, is, pitch me your main event of Survivor Series for this year. And then it parentheses says, it has to be Bray's time now with Sister Abigail, right? How does it feel to once again be fingertips away from the trifecta of podcasts? Cheers, your loyal patron, Thomas. So we've got a bunch of questions in here. Well, let's start out at the beginning. Have you ever been in a position of power where you had to do stuff that made people unhappy?
Of course.
What did you do?
I fired somebody.
Okay. And did you You have any advice for him? I mean, did that lead you to any worldly revelations?
So I was a manager at an internet service provider, which I would like to actually say that I was severely inexperienced and should not have had that position. How I got there, I can only assume I failed upwards.
Okay.
And it should also show how inept that company was. Having said that, I thought I did the job to the best of my ability. And I eventually found a job somewhere else, quit, and moved to Austin. But
good move. Good move.
I thought it was a good move too. But no, I was a manager there, and I constantly had to work with schedules, had to deal with issuing out or whether or not to issue out punishments for people who decided not to show up at work, especially in situations where they knew that I knew what they were doing when they were not at work.
Goodness gracious.
And I had to decide whether to enact on that knowledge.
Yeah.
I've had to fire someone, though the firing someone aspect that was totally justified, and there was actually a split second where I started to second guess myself, and then the person said something that pissed me off, and I was like, "Get out, you're fired," kind of thing. So. The dude brought a gun to work, and
no.
And this wasn't his first, like, hey, don't do that kind of offense.
Yeah.
He brought a gun to work, and a manager saw him, told him to go home and take it home and leave it there.
Yeah.
And then while he was gone, that manager then pulled all of us in an office and basically said, "Hey, I just sent this person home. He's coming back, but I told him this is why I sent him home, to take this home and blah, 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 blah."
Yeah.
Because he was walking around showing it to people.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And he was like, "I'm personal friends with this person. I'm not the manager in charge. He needs to be fired," and walked off. This is my personal friend. I don't want to be the one to fire him. I'm not the manager in charge, John.
Right.
So he needs to be fired, whatever. And then our boss, our mutual boss, was like, "I can understand if you don't want to fire him. It's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the decision entirely up to you. If you decide that, bring him into an office, talk to him. If you decide not to fire him,
yeah,
totally understand."
I'm imagining him saying, I know it's a hard thing to fire somebody. I'm going to put this $50 Taco Bell gift card right here on my desk. I'm going to turn around. I don't know. Maybe somebody gets fired. Maybe somebody gets $50
He's
worth of tacos.
He goes, "If you want," and I looked up and said, "You're my boss. You've dealt with this before.
Yeah.
Your advice, would you fire him?" He goes, "Oh, hell yes. He would be gone. He would, no question. He would, this guy's fucked up quite enough." So pulled him in the office, started talking to him. Basically I was like, why were you being so stupid, kind of thing. This is a fireable offense, blah, blah, blah. This is what the fuck is in your head, and he was just being stupid. He was being an idiot. It wasn't meant any harm. He's like, "Well, it wasn't loaded." And I was like, "It doesn't matter if it wasn't loaded. It's like you brought a gun to work. Do you see?" And then you flashed it around at people. You were like, "Hey, look what I got," kind of thing at people. Do you not see? It took a little bit for him to get, he was just dense. He was really fucking dense. And he was like, "Oh, I get your point."
Yeah, I might have shot the place up.
Yeah, I totally understand what he was like, "Oh man, I totally understand. I hope this doesn't mean I'm going to lose my job." And I'm like, "That's what we're in here to decide right now, motherfucker."
Right.
Kind of thing. And literally, because I know this dude was dense, and I'm not personal friends with this person. I actually didn't really care for him. But I was like, you know what? He's an idiot.
Yeah.
I know he's an idiot. The other managers know he's an idiot.
Maybe cut him a little bit of idiot slack?
I'm going to cut him a little bit of idiot slack.
Okay.
Because he at least comes in and does his job.
Sure.
It's not like he's, telling customers to fuck off or anything like that. He's not doing anything that's costing the company money. He's just being stupid.
Yeah.
So I was about to, literally, I'm sitting in there, and then there's another manager in there that's kind of my backup that technically I have seniority over, but he's a manager who left the company and then came back 6 months later.
Okay.
And by that time I had gotten into a position above him.
Oh, okay.
So he just came back in the same position he was in, but it was a guy that I actually saw as a senior. In my mind, he was above me, but
he was your boss for a while. And,
but so he was kind of in there to back me up. And it was pretty much hey, whatever you say goes, because you're
And he was armed too, right? Just in case shit went down.
Oh no! But literally, we're sitting in there, and then the guy goes, "Well, he goes, so this thing that we're doing is to decide if I'm going to have a job or not." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is pretty much it. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm just trying to." And he goes, "Well, I have one thing before you make your decision that I need to say, which is if you fire me, then you don't understand what it is to be human, and you're a terrible, horrible person." And like, I just kind of was like, I'm sorry, what? And then that manager's like, hold on, I need to pull you outside. Pulled me outside of the room and goes, just stay in here. Shut the door. We're in a hallway. And he goes, you're going to fire him, right? And I'm like, I was about to punch him. Kind of like, motherfucker, I was this close to not firing you.
Yeah.
And then just like, he's like, all right, well, he's like, you should fire him because that was the stupidest thing he could have ever said. He goes,
sure.
He's like, I pulled you out because I saw your face and I've never seen you make that face before. And literally, it's like we walk back and it's like, yeah, you're fired. You're gone. You're done. Let's get your HR paperwork. Let's escort you out of the building kind of thing. Apparently, he tried to come back in and talk to my boss and my boss was like, no, I told him to fire you. So the fact that he did means he did his job. So get out of our building. Yeah. Kind of thing. So. Like it was hard to do, but also I've had those situations where like I know that there's a group of people that are really huge into the Texas Renaissance Festival and they go every year, and unfortunately this year they were scheduled to work on the days that they were supposed to go, and they never asked for the days off and then conveniently called in sick on the days of the Renaissance Festival. And it was like, that I know you go to the Renaissance Festival. You also know that I knew who to ask to go. Were they at the Renaissance Festival? Yeah. They said they asked for it off. Nope. They didn't even call in sick. Yeah. Kind of thing. Like this is like it's.
I've never been on the other side of this equation before. I mean, I was trying to think in my life about the only times I've been in charge of people outside of fucking Rage Select, right?
Yeah.
Which is just. Anyway.
But again, like I was doing that job when I was 21.
Yeah.
21 is not the age to be the manager of people who are in their 30s.
No, not really.
I'm sure I was fucking hated at that place.
Sure.
And the sad part about it is I don't even think I was that strict. Like I actually got told that I wasn't strict enough.
Yeah.
Like I actually didn't care. My big philosophy was you do your job, you hit your metrics that you have to hit because it's a call center and you have metrics. I was like, you hit those metrics, you do your job and don't rock the boat, then I don't fucking care what you do.
Right.
If you are taking phone calls and you're being a badass at taking phone calls and you have a movie playing on the monitor next to you, like on a laptop sitting next to you, I don't care. Do that. Just make sure you're taking your calls and not goofing off.
Right.
Because I understand tech jobs can be boring. They can be fucking repetitive. And there were times there were times when I was a fucking L2 for a company, and literally we had a cellular phone that we would make outbound calls on for customers that didn't want to deal with the regular people who answer the phones. And literally, I was telling a person how to configure their modem while walking across the street and ordering food from Taco Cabana.
Yeah.
Not even looking at a computer screen, directing them where to go on their computer, and then like by the time I got back, I had finished the call, and then I just went, "Hey, I finished that call. This is what happened. I fixed their problem. I'm going to lunch."
Yeah.
And then like I wasn't even in the building. I was literally walking across the street to order food somewhere while telling a person how to do their job, or not how to do their job, but how to fix their problem that they were having connecting with a 56K modem.
Right.
Like. I get that. It can be fucking monotonous and boring, and sometimes you need some type of outside stimulation to keep your brain working.
Sure.
So as a manager, I was like, well, that's how I operate. So I don't care what you do, just as long as you do your job. If your stats start to slack, or if I get complaints from customers, then we have to have a talk. But as long as those things don't happen, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like that was literally my philosophy on things.
That was the problem that I had with managers. The managers that I've disliked the most is I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
So I can do technical support like you're talking about. I don't need to be looking at a monitor. I don't need to be reading off a prompt. I've been doing this shit for a long time. I know how to fix stuff. I know how to talk to people. It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
So the few times that I've quit jobs in a huff were because the last time that I quit Dell was when I worked in the server division, and my boss saw me watching a video because I like to watch GameSpot while I was doing support, and this new boss that had inherited this team that I was on, because the old boss went crazy or got promoted, I don't even remember at this point, was looking over my shoulder and basically told me, you need to not be looking at the internet when you're on a call. And it was like, this is a 45-minute call. I know every step by hand. I'm just waiting for stuff to happen. Are you kidding me? Like, I read a book. He's like, you need to be concentrating on the call. And there's nothing to concentrate on. You've obviously never done this fucking job before because I'm doing it on autopilot. Anybody that has two brain cells to rub together that's been doing technical support for more than a year or two, there's going to be plenty of calls that you answer every day that you know how to fix, that you don't fucking need to be looking at a script or a prompt or any bullshit about.
And having said that, there are going to be instances where we do have to stop whatever external stuff we're doing, and we actually have to pay attention to what we're, like, we actually have to, like, okay, we'll try this, kind of thing, where we're totally paying attention. And we're getting off topic here.
Yes.
But the point is that I really shouldn't have been in that position, and it legitimately was, hey, John, do you want to do this? Sure. And then that job position disappeared, and they're like, well, we can't demote you, so we're going to promote you into a job position that does exist.
Yeah.
And it put me in a position at that company I should have never been in.
Yeah.
So I totally understand having to, tell people, hey, you have to work on Christmas Day, or hey, you have to work on that day. Luckily, in the industry that was in, Christmas Day, the call centers were closed. Actually, no, at that company they weren't. Like, I did have to work Christmas Day. I did have to fucking work Thanksgiving Day. Yeah. Like, they were open 24/7 every day. Like, that call center was always open. Didn't matter if it was a holiday, didn't matter what. If you were scheduled to work that day, you most likely didn't get it off unless you asked for it off like 6 months in advance.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that I would say to your question, Thomas, is that nobody likes working Christmas, nobody likes working New Year's Day, right? But somebody has to.
Yeah.
And it's not you're not a meanie pants by making people do this. The place where you work is going to be open on those days. Somebody is going to have to work. Somebody requested that time off earlier than somebody else, and if you don't do that, then you got to come in. And that's also the sort of thing, especially on holidays, where if you're scheduled to work New Year's Day and you don't want to work New Year's Day and you call in sick on New Year's Day, you might get fucking fired, and that's legit because when you're at a low staff, you have to do that. So, Thomas, I would say do your job, and I've never actually had to directly do anything like that. The closest I got was I managed a couple people at a volunteer job for like a 18-hour shift, but there's got to be a set of rules. Those rules, stick to the rules. And if people get upset with you, the only thing you can fall back on is like, look, I have no power to change this. Like, there's this many people, somebody's got to be here. These people already have time off. You have to come in. Like, that's what it is. I'm sorry. That's how it is on Christmas and New Year's. That's just how it is. So, since we spent so long on that, I'm going to go ahead and skip the rest of these, unless you want to answer your question.
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I honestly don't have an answer for SummerSlam. So
okay. Paul C. writes in and says, hello, Jeff and John. How are you this fine podcast afternoon? I seem to be going from sweater weather to T-shirt warmth throughout the day. As the holidays seem to be getting closer, I tend to remember when my family would get together to cook a meal or sit down and watch a movie, we would usually spend some time just asking each other questions about how our lives have been or how they seem to be going. I know it may seem small now, but my family seems much more busy with work and planning than back then, or there's always something new going on. My question is, during the holidays, whether by yourself or with friends and family, what is a tradition or something special that happens that you enjoy doing with your family or friends, even if it's something that you still do now? Hope all is well, Paul. It's a good question. The traditions?
I do have some traditions. Christmas traditions are that Amanda and I, we order a bunch of we don't actually cook Christmas dinner.
Mm-hmm.
We actually get it from Rudy's Barbecue.
Sure.
We actually order
the turkey.
The turkey.
Yeah. Smoked. This is smoked turkey.
Yeah, smoked turkey. We order smoked turkey. We go buy, stuff to make like mashed potatoes and maybe some like lots of mac and cheese. Like we make like a full, like we actually make too much food on purpose because those type of meals you want them to last a couple days maybe.
Sure.
But we make a large amount of food, and then we don't go anywhere. Like we sit at home.
Yeah.
We veg out. We basically eat the food that we're eating on either on Christmas, and we just watch Christmas movies all fucking day. Like from the moment we wake up, we actually have the same Christmas movies.
Okay.
Every year.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll add a new one. Sometimes we'll rotate out one. Like I think this year our first year was like Charlie Brown Christmas. Scrooged, Gremlins 2. Even though that's not a Christmas movie, that's a New Year's movie.
Gremlins
1 is a Christmas movie. But that was our out. Gremlins 1 is a Christmas movie, but we like Gremlins 2 more.
What?
We love Gremlins 2.
I mean, Gremlins 2 is not a bad movie, but you like Gremlins 2 more than Gremlins 1?
Yes.
You're a crazy person.
Like, you can't have Gremlins 2 without Gremlins 1.
You found the only other person on the planet who loves Gremlins 2 more than Gremlins 1. Congratulations. I hope your life is very happy together.
It is. We're getting married.
Goddamn.
But anyways, so we like Gremlins 2. So we that was in the rotation for a while. That may actually be replaced by Krampus this year.
You've had the worst Christmas movies. Die Hard,
Santa's
Lethal
Sleigh.
Weapon, and Gremlins. That's
Santa's Sleigh, starring Bill Goldberg. The entire cast is Jewish actors. It's about Santa, who at some point 2,000 years ago had struck a deal with like Santa was actually evil. He was a fucking evil person that murdered and killed everyone. He was essentially the Antichrist.
Okay.
However, an angel came down and made a bet with him that if he lost this bet, he would have to become good and become a focus for good for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
The angel won the bet. Santa became a focus for good. 2,000 years had passed. Now Santa could be fucking evil again. He's played by Bill motherfucking Goldberg, the wrestler, and literally it's a movie of Santa going around killing everybody.
head shake, slow.
It is amazing.
Slow back.
You should watch it. It's a lot of fun.
Slow back and forth head shake.
But yeah, so we just watched like I said, Scrooged. I think we also, I think we did watch Die Hard one year. But
Die Hard is the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
It is a good movie.
Die Hard is the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
It is a good movie.
It's the
I'm not
greatest
arguing
Christmas
that.
movie.
I think another year we watched Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
It's good. Yep. Anything Shane Black has done, because it all takes place long.
Every movie he does. Every movie he makes takes place during Christmas. Even fucking Iron Man 3.
Yep.
But no, my point is, like, we do have some movies that we rotate in out, but we kind of do this thing where we just sit around, we munch on turkey all day, like it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner is turkey, mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, and we just watch endless Christmas movies.
Okay.
Just whatever we can get our hands on.
Yep.
And we kind of do the same thing for Thanksgiving, except not Thanksgiving movies. I think we just do different movies. We do kind of the same thing for Halloween as well. We'll start, but we won't do them all in one day. We'll just do them over the course of the month.
I don't have any Thanksgiving.
They're traditions because after my family and I separated, because they live in Ohio. But even when I moved to Seattle. It started to become a thing where you only have one. See, as a kid and all the way through most of up to the point where I was probably around in my 20s, my entire family lived in this town, right? I lived in an apartment, but my folks lived here. My sister lived here. So every year we would always get together. Then they moved. My folks moved to Arizona. My sister went off to college in New York, and we started to get to a point where we could really only justify getting all in the same place one time a year. And that generally tended to be Christmas. In fact, I haven't ever had a Christmas where I haven't seen my parents, and that's basically the thing. We've got the one tradition where we get up, we eat coffee cake, open the presents, usually have breakfast tacos, then at in the evening turkey and dressing and stuff like that, and then the midday. Sometimes there's a walk involved, sometimes there's a movie. I can say though that this year we've started the opening Kissinger-esque negotiations at fucking 39 years old. Me and my family were finally like, okay, all right, people, this is it. We're all adults. No more presents, right? No more presents. I will give up any presents that I may receive for Christmas in order to not have to try to figure out what my parents, who own everything that they want in life because they just buy it, what I could possibly get them for Christmas that they don't already have, that they are just going to not use. Also, like one year my sister and I got TiVo for them, and they used like the 6 month of TiVo that came with TiVo, and then they just never renewed it. One time I gave my dad Netflix for Christmas, and he used the 9 months of Netflix, and then was like, no more Netflix. And I'm just like, Jesus God. I mean, I can't get them books. I can't get them, electronics. I got everybody in my family Bluetooth headsets for Christmas one year because I'm like, Bluetooth headsets are awesome. We do a lot of phone calls in my family. You guys can all get yourself a pair of Bluetooth headphones. They never fucking used them. So like, we've started the parlay. We've actually started 3 different parlays in my family. 1, no presents. 2, no breakfast, because every time we try to do this breakfast thing, we don't end up eating breakfast until noon, and then we don't end up eating turkey until 9 o'clock in the evening because nobody's hungry before then. And 3, fucking store-bought
Rudy's smoked, like go get somebody else to make your turkey instead of having to spend all afternoon goddamn making a turkey.
Yeah.
I require only one thing from the holidays, and that is one turkey dinner a year. You don't have to make the turkey, but I require one turkey dinner because I can't get a turkey dinner right now. Well, I'm sure that I could if I looked for it. But.
I think thinking about the only other tradition we have is that on Thanksgiving we go to Threadgills.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Which sometimes you join us.
Yes, I do. All right, let's see what we got here. I think I got time for another question or two. Alex writes in and says, "Hello, Jeff and Sexiful co-host. My name is Alex, and I'm a brand new listener.
Hey!
My boyfriend introduced me to all the awesome stuff you do. I have to say, good old Almond Space inspired the creation of my own Fallout character, Charisma Space Doodle, the least charismatic bitch in the universe. She's here to fuck shit up, no questions asked. Playing video games, talking about them, and watching your videos has become something that brings us closer together." Look at that. We're bringing people together.
Also, if you're one of those people that I insulted earlier in the podcast by saying fuck you in regards to the PC Master Race thing, I wasn't talking about you specifically.
Yes.
I was talking about those other people. Just want to let you know. You're immune from that.
Strange injection there. That being said, what are some of your favorite co-op or PvP games? That way he doesn't just have to sit there and watch me run around in circles and Fallout anymore. Have an awesome day and keep raging. Your newest listener, Alex. Alex, what's wrong with making somebody watch you run around in circles in
Tiny circles?
Yeah, tiny circles. It's Rage Select staple. Go back and watch Red Dead. Favorite co-op or PvP games?
I've always really loved the co-op for the Gears of War franchise.
Okay, kind of drop in, drop out.
Yeah, I mean, I play it like I've played Gears of War co-op with my former roommate, probably my best friend, Chuck. Like every game, like we've played co-op every story. I assume at some point we probably will with the new one. I just haven't gotten the game yet. But so it's one of those things that like that franchise, the co-op for it, I've really enjoyed.
Okay. I mean, it's really a cliche answer, but the entire Soulsborne series co-op is actually one of the best co-op experiences because there are parts of the game that are designed for co-op that are much easier if you have co-op. There's a lot of times where when you're first starting out in the game that having other people with you is a real boon. It really helps out. And yeah, it's a great system. I feel like it's a system that a lot of people don't take advantage of because usually whenever in the Souls franchise you do co-op, you're also opening yourself up to the potential of invasion. But I think it's fine, and it's really, really fun. As far as adversarial goes, PvP games, I think Overwatch is the first game in a long time, an online competitive first-person shooter that I've actually had fun playing.
Yeah.
Battlefront I actually liked a lot. I keep talking about that from time to time where I really enjoyed Battlefront.
I enjoyed Battlefront, though I do wonder what the legs on that are. Like if there's still people like hardcore playing Battlefront.
I mean, there's enough.
Yeah. Overwatch, though, I don't think I've actually obsessively played online multiplayer game as much as I played Overwatch.
I'd probably have to go back to like Modern Warfare to find something that I enjoyed quite as much as Overwatch. And, Battlefield and Modern Warfare have been treading water feature-wise for the last, 10 years, 5 years, and so Overwatch has been that's probably been the best co-op game or the best PvP game that I've played.
Weird. Like, one of my favorite co-op experiences was playing the Xbox Live Arcade Dead Rising 2 Case West game, which was, because with Dead Rising 2, they released 2 other, like, independent, not DLC games.
Yep.
It was Dead Rising 2 Case Zero, which was a prequel.
Yep.
And then there was Dead Rising 2 Case West, which was a epilogue.
Yep.
But with Case West, you could play co-op.
Yep.
Unlike
you could play Dead Rising 2 co-op, couldn't you? Because it was 2 Chucks. Remember, there was like a palette swap of a second Chuck that would come in there.
Oh yeah.
I don't think people did it all that much. I don't think it was very popular, but
but I know you could in 3. 3 had co-op, didn't it?
I think so. I don't remember.
Yeah, I know there was a multiplayer add-on, the Super Mega Turbo Alpha. Whatever
was that? Did they add it in at that point? Because I don't remember playing it.
I don't know. But I do remember playing Case West again with my former roommate and like just fucking loving the shit out of playing that. Just the ridiculousness of the two of us just going through zombie hordes.
Sure,
which is great.
Yeah, I I love Dead Rising. I love them. All right, we got 2 more questions that we're going to get done. Ryan hits us up and says, Dear Jeff and John, my name is Ryan, a fan of yours since the loading bar and proud patron. I just have one question for you that is more speculation than anything else. As of sending this question on October 12th, we haven't gotten any official information on the Nintendo NX. The only thing we do know is it's supposed to come out sometime in March 2017. Do you think that with only 5 months until the release and no major press conferences, Nintendo will have enough time to advertise and market the system? Thanks in advance if you do read this. Proud fan and patron, Ryan. I hadn't thought about this before, but it's a really good question because right now in the video game industry, everything is hyped out the ass years ahead of time. And Nintendo made very quietly the announcement about that, but none of the Nintendo Directs have shown an NX or anything. It's not a good time to do that right now.
Yeah,
maybe
no, they're not going to do it right now.
January maybe, but that's also a real dead zone for games. So, or actually, no, that's not true. There's a lot of stuff that comes out in Q1.
Yeah, because that's the end of
the fiscal year.
Yeah,
before March. But it does kind of beg the question of, what are they waiting for? That, I mean, they've already essentially abandoned the Wii U. Like the last Nintendo Direct was all 3DS stuff.
Yeah.
3DSs are going to sell regardless. Like you don't have to. I mean, it's always nice to pimp out the stuff that's on the 3DS, but they don't have a major hardware revision coming. They don't have anything coming. And with the NX with the Wii U being such a flop, you kind of figured that they would spend a little bit more time getting people. I mean, we haven't even seen the thing, right?
Yeah, no, we don't know. We don't. All it's been speculation. I mean, people have claimed that it's going to be cartridge based. We don't know if that's for true or not. I mean, it's probably is true.
That weird patent drawing that they had.
Yeah, there's where the controllers snap off the side. We don't know if that's true or not. There's speculation that it's going to be some type of combination portable / console.
Yep.
That's
speculation. Yeah.
Like that's, as much as we tout all those things as fact now, it's all speculation, and then probably is a lot of it. Most of it is probably true. But again, it's speculation. We don't know shit.
I mean, I'm just thinking back to when the Wii was getting ready to be released. It was, what was it called before that? Was
Project Dream or?
Oh, I thought it was something better.
No, Dream was something else.
I think Dream was the GameCube. Was it GameCube project? Anyway,
yeah.
The Wii was known by an entirely different name for like 6 months before.
No, the Wii was the Revolution.
The Revolution, yeah.
Yeah, the GameCube was the Dolphin.
Okay, there you go. Because I remember that. I thought that was a much better name than Wii. I still stick to that. The Nintendo Revolution for that. That would have been great. That would have been great. But even the Wii U, I just fucking saw the Wii U 6-8 months before it came out at E3. They tried it out at E3.
Yeah.
Like it seems like if they're going to actually launch this thing in March, that, I mean, we even have a price point on it yet?
No, we don't have
pre-order it?
We don't even know.
Like,
we don't have any information on it
because they can't start during the holiday release season. As I said before, that'd be insane. You're getting, but then dude, what? I didn't even realize. I didn't put all this together. Like this holiday release season, you've got the PlayStation Pro, you've got the Xbox.
You know what? I honestly have a feeling that's going to happen.
What's that?
I don't think it's coming out in March.
You think it's going to get pushed back?
I think that's when they're going to announce it.
Oh, announce in March and then push back past E3.
I think they're going to announce in March and then maybe be like, "Oh, it'll come out in October or come out in August."
They can't do that. They can't do that. There's nothing on deck for the Wii U. They could do that, but it would be like a huge dead zone of 0 light 3DS releases, but nothing for the Wii U. In fact, if they do push it off that far, I mean, there isn't anything even. Are there Wii U games coming out?
What else? Persona? No,
Persona 5 is PlayStation and Xbox One, right?
I mean, there's the Zelda game.
Yeah,
but that's also going to be on the NX.
They won't come
as
out,
well.
until the NX comes out. So, let's see here. Wii U coming soon. Let's see, Skylanders Imaginators. A lot of this stuff looks like indie stuff. SteamWorld Heist, Tumblestone, Shantae Half Genie Hero, SteamWorld Collection, Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. There's nothing. I mean, there's just nothing. I don't like it. It would just seem, because they've been putting out stuff for the 3DS. I mean, there's been 3DS games coming out.
There's new Pokemon
but
games.
There can't be anything. They can't have developers working on stuff for the Wii U right now, or else we would know about it, right? Because those developers would be.
I mean, right now
trailers.
the NX is the best kept secret in the business.
Yeah,
like
how? Yeah, good point, Ryan. I didn't realize it was just like show it to me. I mean, you don't even have to show it to me and tell me a price. You don't have to go over the features. You don't have to do anything else. All I got to do is hold it up and go Ridge Racer, and tell me.
Ridge Racer, everybody. Ridge Racer.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Real-time weapon switching. Real-time weapon switching.
Crap battles.
Crap battles.
Still one of our favorite E3s.
Oh, yeah. That was ridiculous. Was that the one with Shaun White and where that lady, was it Cammy, was out for Nintendo on stage, like their last stage show?
I don't remember, but yeah.
That one is one of my favorite. There's a giant bomb clip about that press conference, about that Nintendo press conference. I don't remember what it is, but it's so fucking funny. I love it so much. Anyway, Ryan, you're totally right. And if they're going to put that thing out in March, I mean, who knows? Maybe this is just Nintendo riding their Nintendo hubris train all the way to the bank. Maybe they got something else that they're doing. Maybe Pokemon Go is making money. Maybe.
Well, I mean, Pokemon Go is not making them a lot of money. I mean, it's making them money, but not as much money as everybody was originally thinking. They've already said that.
Right.
Because they get very little compared to because it's split three ways.
To Niantic,
the Pokemon Company, and Nintendo.
Right.
And Nintendo gets like the smallest share of that. But it might be interesting, and I would be surprised if they do it, because if I'm not mistaken, there's supposed to be one more Nintendo Direct before the end of the year.
If that's what it is,
if that's all NX, and if we don't get that right at the beginning of December, because by that point, everyone who's bought their Christmas gifts would have already bought them. So it's like, okay, we don't have to worry about anyone like going, we don't have to worry about cutting the legs out from something by saying,
yeah, but the shopping season is late October, November.
I know.
Like that's the companies that make all the money that they're going to make the entire year, and that during that time
like I said, they're wanting to wait until after that. Once they know that they've got the money for the stuff that's already in stores, they're not undercutting anything by that point by going, hey, this is what's coming out in March.
Yeah, but everybody's already spent their money.
Yeah,
we already bought the PlayStation VR and my new Scorpio, or not Scorpio, but my new Xbox One Slim and my PS4 Pro. I got a new video card for my computer. I got my cousin. All these things. I'm out of money.
And now you can
work
to make more money so that you can buy an NX in March.
Okay, I guess to build it back up to March. I mean, yeah, but man. It's weird.
I don't know what Nintendo's doing. Maybe they're thinking a thing where, because with the Wii U, they kind of, they announced it and then it came out like the very next year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're thinking, well, maybe not to get people's hopes too high. Let's wait until the last minute to announce it. Let's kind of, spring it up on people, kind of.
Maybe, but that's just not how you do it these days.
Yeah.
That can be a real
here's
bad
the thing.
strategy.
Nintendo's been doing weird shit.
They've been insane for the last decade, so who knows? Who knows?
I mean, they're now making mobile games, so for phones, so whatever.
All right, well, one more question, then we're going to get out of here. This one comes in from, I'm going to say, Chase, who says, Dear Jeff and cool as shit co-host John, with it being October and Halloween around the corner, I've been trying to find ways to scare myself. With me owning almost every horror movie ever and horror games being too expensive, I decided to go to the internet for scares. To no surprise, there's a lot of scary stuff out there. So my question for you spooky badasses is this. What are some of the scariest videos you've ever seen on the internet? I recently found this video called There Is Nothing, and it haunts me every time I close my eyes. I also wanted to thank you for all the hilarious content you've been putting out lately. Just started college, and it's been beating the shit out of me, leading to depression. But thanks to your videos, I can keep a smile on my face. P.S. Jeff, have you read the Dark Souls comic? If so, what do you think? I personally love it, but I'm also kind of 60% with the games. And that's from Chase. So I have not read the Dark Souls comic, Chase.
I read the first issue.
Yeah, I'm just not, nah.
But I don't have enough frame of reference for Dark Souls to know how good, to be like, oh man, this is great.
Have you seen this thing? Have you seen this There Is Nothing video?
No.
It's silly. I mean, I could see how if you're watching it in the middle of the night, it would be kind of spooky. Basically, this lady is there. She's got this weird makeup on, and she plonks her head in this bowl. And it zooms all the way out, and then it zooms all the way back in, and she lifts her head up, and she says, there is nothing. At the very beginning, the entire thing is reversed. So it starts out with her saying there is nothing backwards, and then plopping her face in this bowl, and then it zooms out, and then it zooms back in, and then it reverses the entire thing. I don't know. It's all right. But scariest internet videos. Can you think of some scary internet videos that you've seen?
Ooh, scary internet videos.
It's hard for me to get scared. I can tell you. I'll tell mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a video. This is not scary, but I actually really like it. Have you ever seen The Cat with Hands? It's a very old video that I found on the internet a long time ago. I don't even know if it's still out there. You can still get it. And it's not really super scary. It's kind of got this weird thing where it's a stop motion of people. Like it's hard to describe. It's an interesting it's a short little film. It's not super long or anything, but it's about a cat that has people hands.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen this.
You've seen this one?
Yeah.
The other one, I don't know the name of it, but it's like this guy goes over to somebody's house and then he starts seeing the people as like these giant. They have like a giant white head that's like with a grinning rictus on it.
Yeah.
And it's like he doesn't know what's going on. He goes to the bathroom and he comes back and his friend is passed out. And they're all just like, oh, no, it's fine. And you might also recognize that one. I don't know what the name of that one is. Let's see. Horror.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. When it
I think
comes...
it's called Smile. Sorry.
Oh. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't think I don't think there's really anything like...
this one with the people with the giant heads.
Oh, weird.
You've never seen this one
no,
before?
No, never seen this.
Most of the stuff that I've seen that's scary on the internet is old. It's a weird video where this guy keeps seeing the people. I mean, everybody has these giant, weird, fucked up heads, but then he starts seeing the other people as like these kind of smiling demon faces, and it's like he wants to leave this house and they don't really want to let him leave, and it's a little spooky. I mean, the first time you see it. I actually watched a compilation on YouTube.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, here's 10 super spooky things on YouTube, and most of them weren't really all that spooky to me because I don't know. I don't get spooked out that easy.
I mean, like I said, there's stuff that I think is creepy or whatever, spooky or whatever, but I honestly can't think of like any like YouTube videos. I tend to like stuff with atmosphere, with this like spooky atmosphere and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. The other thing is that's not spooky stuff is not the first stuff that I go to on the internet. I would probably I would much rather read an article off the SCP Foundation than watch a YouTube video because it's really hard to convey in a spooktacular craziness in a 3-minute to 5-minute YouTube video.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Stuff that you think of in your head that you read and you imagine in your head is always going to be scarier than anything that they show you.
Yeah.
Like your imagination is always worse than what it actually is going on.
Yeah. So. So that's all I got.
Yeah.
Amanda could probably answer that question better.
Yeah.
She watches all kinds of stuff on YouTube, right?
Yeah, she watches a lot of stuff.
Well, that's it. That's all we got.
That's all.
It's another podcast.
Huzzah.
Done.
We're done.
We've doled out advice. We've pissed off a group number of people for whatever reason.
I insulted people.
Yeah.
You know, I realize it's probably bad to say go fuck yourself to your fan base.
You know what? I think I know how to fix this situation, Johnny.
Yeah.
You ready? Execute Order 68. Wait a minute, that was the wrong one. Execute Order 67.
I was gonna say 68. I don't gotta take a shit.